The Galactic Council's annual summit transforms into a battlefield, cementing humanity's status as the most respected and feared species in the galaxy. Ambassador Noah Grant stands at the center of the storm, his hand steady as he presents a datapad containing irrefutable evidence of the Lemnorian Empire's treachery. Esteemed council members, Noah's voice cuts through the chamber's tense atmosphere. What you're about to see will shake the foundations of our galactic community. The chamber's holographic displays flicker to life, projecting gruesome images of human test subjects in Lemnorian laboratories. Gasps and murmurs ripple through the alien delegates as data streams across their personal screens, detailing the extent of the Lemnorian secret biological weapons program. Opal, the Lemnorian diplomat, leaps to her feet. This is fabrication. Earth seeks to undermine our standing. Her protests fall on deaf ears as the chamber erupts into chaos. Noah's voice rises above the din. We demand immediate sanctions against the Lemnorian Empire and a united front to protect humanity. This threat cannot go unanswered. The Council fractures into factions. The Xeraxian ambassador backs Earth's claims, while the Vestari representative calls for further investigation. Accusations fly as species take sides, the delicate balance of galactic politics teetering on the edge of collapse. Suddenly, the chamber doors burst open. A squad of Lemnorian security forces storms in, energy weapons raised. Seize the human and the evidence. Their leader shouts. Noah's training kicks in. He vaults over the Earth delegation's desk, narrowly avoiding a stun blast. The alien ambassadors scramble for cover as energy bolts sizzle through the air. With fluid motions, Noah disarms the nearest Lemnorian, using the alien's own weapon to incapacitate two more. He ducks, weaves, and strikes with precision, his human reflexes and strength catching the Lemnorians off guard. The Council watches in awe as Noah improvises, using decorative artifacts and furniture as weapons. He hurls a ceremonial shield, knocking out a Lemnorian sniper perched in the upper gallery. In a display of raw power, he rips a metal handrail from its moorings, wielding it like a staff against the remaining attackers. The tide turns as Earth's security team breaches the chamber, securing the exits and surrounding the subdued Lemnorian forces. Noah stands in the center, breathing heavily but unbroken, the evidence clutched tightly in his hand. The chamber falls silent, the alien diplomats regarding Noah with a mixture of fear and respect. The human ambassador has single-handedly thwarted an armed incursion and exposed a galactic conspiracy. As the dust settles, the implications of Noah's actions ripple across the stars. The Galactic Council can no longer ignore the Lemnorian threat or underestimate humanity's potential. Earth, once seen as a newcomer to the galactic stage, has proven itself a formidable force. In the days that follow, Noah becomes a symbol of human resilience and capability. Alien races seek alliances with Earth, recognizing humanity as a valuable ally against Lemnorian aggression. The incident sparks heated debates about humanity's place in the interstellar community, with many species advocating for an elevated status for Earth. The Lemnorian Empire faces severe diplomatic backlash. Sanctions are swiftly imposed, and their influence in galactic affairs plummets. The Galactic Council convenes emergency sessions to address the fallout and reassess humanity's role in interstellar politics. As Noah receives accolades from alien dignitaries, he also gets new orders from Earth's government. His mission now extends beyond diplomacy. He must gather intelligence on potential threats to humanity's survival in a galaxy that's just realized how dangerous humans can be. The incident marks a turning point in galactic history. Humanity, through Noah's actions, has declared its intention to not just participate in galactic affairs, but to shape them. The species that once looked down on Earth now regard humans with a mixture of respect and trepidation, knowing that the galaxy will never be the same again. As the dust settled on the Galactic Council incident, Earth's government recognized the need for a proactive approach to interstellar threats. In a clandestine meeting, Top officials established Operation Sentinel, a covert task force designed to safeguard humanity's interests beyond the solar system. Noah Grant, fresh from his diplomatic triumph, found himself at the helm of this elite unit. His first order of business: assembling a team capable of navigating the treacherous waters of galactic espionage. Dr. Ethan Cox, Noah said, reviewing the personnel files on his desk. Top of his class in xenobiology. If anyone can unravel alien biology, it's him. Captain Marcus Stone, a battle-hardened Special Forces veteran, completed the core team. His intense look met Noah's as they shook hands. "Ready to take the fight to the enemy, sir," Stone said, his voice a low growl. Their first mission briefing came sooner than expected. Intelligence suggested a hidden Lemnorian research outpost on Proxima Centauri b, Earth's nearest exoplanet neighbor. Under the cover of darkness, Noah led his team towards the suspected facility. Their ship, cloaked in cutting-edge stealth technology, slipped past Lemnorian patrols undetected. As they approached the planet's surface, Noah's heart raced. This was no longer a diplomatic mission. They were about to step into the unknown, armed only with their wits and Earth's most advanced tech. The team touched down in a remote area, activating their personal cloaking devices. Noah signaled silently, and they moved out, their footsteps muffled by the alien terrain. It didn't take long to locate the facility, a sprawling underground complex hidden beneath an innocuous rock formation. Using a combination of Earth and reverse-engineered alien tech, they bypassed the outer security systems and slipped inside. The interior was a maze of sterile corridors and locked doors. Noah's enhanced senses, honed by years of training, picked up the faint hum of advanced machinery. "This way," he whispered, leading the team deeper into the complex. They came upon a vast chamber filled with rows of containment units. Inside, various alien species floated in suspension, including, Noah's blood ran cold, humans. Dr. Cox immediately set to work, his fingers flying over his portable analysis device. "This is incredible," he murmured, his face pale in the blue glow of the screens. "They're experimenting with genetic markers. It looks like they're trying to create a weapon that targets human DNA specifically." Captain Stone's hand tightened on his weapon. "We need to shut this down. Now." Noah nodded grimly, but before he could issue orders, a piercing alarm shattered the silence. Red lights flashed along the walls as a computerized voice blared in an alien language. "Our cover's blown," Noah shouted. "Cox, download everything you can. Stone with me. We need to buy him time." The first wave of Lemnorian guards burst through the chamber doors, energy weapons blazing. Noah and Stone sprang into action, their enhanced reflexes and strength catching the aliens off guard. Noah ducked under a swing from a Lemnorian twice his size, using the alien's momentum to flip him onto a nearby console. Sparks flew as the equipment shorted out. Stone moved like a whirlwind, his fists and feet finding weak points in Lemnorian armor, with terrifying accuracy. "Sir," he called out, tossing Noah a fallen alien's weapon. Noah caught it mid-roll, coming up firing. The unfamiliar weapon kicked in his hands, but his aim was true. 2 more Lemnorians fell, their chitinous armor smoking. "Done!" Cox yelled over the chaos. "And I rigged their reactor to overload. This whole place is going to blow." "Time to leave," Noah ordered, leading the charge towards the exit. The team fought their way through waves of Lemnorian reinforcements. Noah's mind raced, analyzing and adapting to the alien fighting styles. He noticed their tendency to protect their left sides, a weakness he exploited ruthlessly. As they neared the surface, a massive blast door began to close, threatening to trap them inside. Noah sprinted ahead, wedging himself between the closing panels. His augmented muscles strained as he held the door open, allowing Cox and Stone to slip through. With a final burst of strength, Noah rolled clear just as the door slammed shut. They emerged into the alien night, alarms blaring behind them. "Our ship's compromised," Stone reported, checking his wrist computer. "We'll never make it there before they lock down the area." Noah's eyes locked onto a sleek Lemnorian scout ship nearby. "Then we're taking theirs," he declared. They raced towards the alien craft, Noah's mind already dissecting its likely control systems. As they neared, a Lemnorian patrol spotted them, opening fire. Noah dove for the ship's access panel, his fingers dancing over the alien interface. Years of studying extraterrestrial technology paid off as the hatch hissed open. "Get in," he shouted, leaping into the pilot's seat. The team piled in as energy bolts peppered the hull. Noah's hands flew over the controls, his brain making rapid connections between the alien systems and familiar flight principles. The engines roared to life, and Noah gunned it. The ship lurched upward, nearly clipping a Lemnorian watchtower as it shot into the sky. We've got company," Cox reported, eyes glued to a rear display. A massive Lemnorian battlecruiser loomed behind them, closing fast. Noah's eyebrows furrowed in purpose. "Hold on," he growled, pushing the stolen ship to its limits. What followed was a harrowing game of cat and mouse through Proxima Centauri B's upper atmosphere. Noah barrel-rolled and juked, his piloting skills pushing the alien craft beyond its design limits. The battlecruiser fired, massive energy beams slicing through the space around them. Noah banked hard, skimming the edge of a beam close enough to feel its heat through the hull. "We can't outgun them," Stone said, gripping his seat as Noah executed another gut-wrenching maneuver. "We don't have to," Noah replied, a plan forming. "We just need to outthink them." He pushed the ship into a steep dive, plummeting back towards the planet's surface. The battlecruiser followed, its massive bulk struggling to match the smaller ship's agility. At the last possible moment, Noah pulled up, skimming the tops of Proxima Centauri B's fierce storms. Lightning crackled around them as he wove through the tempest, using the electromagnetic interference to mask their signature. The gambit worked. As they emerged from the other side of the storm front, the battlecruiser was nowhere to be seen. Noah plotted a course for Earth, his hands steady on the controls despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. As the alien star system receded behind them, he allowed himself a small smile. "Well done, team," he said, glancing at Cox and Stone. "But our work is just beginning." The stolen Lemnorian ship streaked through space, carrying with it the seeds of humanity's next great leap forward, and the spark of a conflict that would reshape the galaxy. As the stolen Lemnorian ship hurtled through space, Noah's mind raced with the implications of their discovery. The data they'd acquired could change everything. Months passed in a blur of debriefings, analysis, and technological breakthroughs. The Prometheus project, born from the ashes of their Proxima Centauri mission, pushed humanity's understanding of alien tech to new heights. Noah watched with a mixture of pride and trepidation as Earth scientists reverse-engineered Lemnorian designs, culminating in a prototype faster-than-light drive. "It's ready," Dr. Cox announced, his face aglow with excitement as he led Noah and Captain Stone into a vast hangar. "Meet the HSS Defiant." The ship loomed before them, its sleek lines a fusion of human ingenuity and alien innovation. Noah's heart quickened at the sight. This was more than a ship. It was humanity's key to the stars. "She's beautiful," Noah breathed, running a hand along the hull. "And deadly," Stone added, a hint of approval in his gruff voice. "When do we take her out?" Noah's response was cut short by the arrival of Admiral Chun, her crisp uniform a stark contrast to the bustle of the hangar. "Gentlemen," she said, "I have your next mission." The briefing was short and to the point. Operation Starfall, a covert mission to test the FTL drive and gather intelligence on distant civilizations. As the Admiral outlined the objectives, Noah felt the familiar thrill of adventure rising within him. "One more thing," Dr. Cox interjected as they prepared to board. He lowered his voice, glancing around furtively. I've been analyzing the Lemnorian bioweapon data. There's something there, a weakness in their physiology. We could potentially develop a countermeasure. Noah's brow furrowed. The implications were staggering. Keep it under wraps for now, he ordered. We need to verify everything before we even think about next steps. Stone's eyes hardened, clearly disagreeing, but he nodded curtly. As they boarded the Defiant, Noah couldn't shake a sense of unease. The weight of command, the unknown dangers ahead, the ethical dilemma of the Lemnorian data. It all pressed down on him as he strapped into the captain's chair. All systems go, the ship's AI announced. Initiating FDL jump in 3, 2, 1. The universe stretched around them, reality itself seeming to bend. Then, with a lurch that sent Noah's stomach into his throat, they were flying faster than light. For a moment, elation filled the bridge. They'd done it. Humanity had joined the ranks of FDL-capable species. The triumph was short-lived. Alarms blared as the ship bucked violently. Unknown radiation detected. Cox shouted over the din. It's interfering with the drive. Noah's training kicked in. His hands flew over the controls, making split-second adjustments as the ship threatened to tear itself apart. Rerouting power, he called out. Cox, I need those radiation readings. For agonizing minutes, Noah wrestled with the ship's systems, his mind working in overdrive to compensate for the cascade of failures. With a final, gut-wrenching maneuver, he stabilized the drive. The alarms fell silent. On the console, an alien starfield materialized. Where are we? Stone asked, his usual stoicism tinged with awe. Noah checked the NAV systems, his blood running cold. I don't know. We're way off course. This region isn't in any of our star charts. As the implications sank in, a new alert caught their attention. Captain, the AI intoned. I'm detecting a planet ahead. Class M. Signs of civilization. The tension on the bridge ratcheted up a notch. First contact was always a possibility on this mission, but not like this. Not when they were lost, their ship damaged in uncharted space. Take us into orbit, Noah ordered. Passive scans only. Let's not announce our presence just yet. As the Defiant settled into orbit, the planet's features came into focus. Continents and oceans, sprawling cities, a web of satellites, all hallmarks of a spacefaring civilization on the cusp of its own cosmic journey. Their tech level appears similar to early 21st century Earth, Cox reported, poring over the scanned data. No signs of FDL capability, but they're close. Noah weighed their options. The mission parameters were clear: observe, gather intel, avoid detection. But as he opened his mouth to give orders, another alert cut him off. Asteroid detected, the AI announced. Impact trajectory calculated. Collision with planet imminent. The view screen shifted, showing a massive rock hurtling through space. Noah's blood ran cold as the AI rattled off the projected casualties. Billions dead, planetary ecosystems destroyed, a civilization snuffed out just as it reached for the stars. We have to do something, Cox said, his voice barely above a whisper. Stone's face was grim. It's not our call. Sir, we have protocols, Dash. To hell with protocols, Noah snapped, surprising even himself with the vehemence in his voice. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. We didn't come out here just to watch people die. Before he could issue orders, yet another alarm blared. Multiple contacts detected, the AI reported. Lemnorian signatures. A battle fleet, closing fast. Noah's mind raced. They were outgunned, outnumbered, with no backup. The planet below faced annihilation. And now the Lemnorians had found them, likely drawn by the unique signature of their experimental drive. In that moment, Noah made a decision that would alter the course of human history. "New plan," he announced, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We're making contact." As his team looked at him in shock, Noah laid out his audacious strategy. Use the planet's gravity for cover. Enlist the help of the natives. Turn the tables on the Lemnorians. "It's insane," Stone said, a hint of admiration in his voice. Noah allowed himself a grim smile. "Sometimes insanity is all we've got. Cox, prepare a first contact package. Stone, I want defensive options. We've got about 2 hours before the Lemnorians arrive, and less than that before the asteroid hits." As the Defiant broke orbit, descending towards the alien world below, Noah felt the weight of billions of lives on his shoulders. Whatever happened next would reshape the galaxy. He just hoped they'd be alive to see it. The fate of an entire civilization, now rested in their hands. Noah took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. "All right, team, we're splitting up. Cox, you're with me. We're making contact with the planet's leadership. Stone, take a shuttle and intercept that asteroid." Stone's eyes widened. "Sir, with all due respect, Dash. I know it's risky." Noah cut him off. "But we don't have a choice. We need to address both threats simultaneously." As Stone nodded grimly and headed for the shuttle bay, Noah turned to Cox. "Let's give these aliens a show they won't forget." Minutes later, the HSS Defiant broke through the planet's atmosphere, its sleek form descending towards a sprawling metropolis below. Noah guided the ship to an open area near what appeared to be a governmental complex, the Defiant's engines kicking up a swirling cloud of dust as it touched down. Through the view screen, Noah watched as vehicles screeched to a halt and pedestrians fled in panic. "Looks like we've got their attention," he muttered. Cox finished calibrating their translation device. "Ready when you are, Captain." Noah took a steadying breath and opened the ship's external comms. "People of this world," he began, his voice booming across the city, "we come in peace and with urgent news. Your planet faces imminent danger. We are here to help." For several tense moments, there was no response. Then, a crackling transmission came through. "Unidentified vessel." A stern voice spoke, the translation software working overtime. "You have entered Zarquin space unauthorized. Explain yourselves immediately." Noah and Cox exchanged glances. "This is Captain Noah Grant of the Earth's ship Defiant," Noah responded. "We need to speak with your leaders immediately. Time is of the essence." As they waited for a response, Noah's thoughts turned to Stone and his team. He could only hope they were having better luck with the asteroid. High above the planet's surface, Captain Stone wrestled with the controls of the Defiant shuttlecraft. The massive asteroid loomed before them, a harbinger of destruction. "Tractor beam ready, sir," his engineer reported. Stone nodded grimly. "Engage." The shuttle shuddered as the experimental beam lanced out, enveloping the asteroid in a shimmering field of energy. For a moment, it seemed to be working. Then, alarms blared. The beam's destabilizing. The engineer shouted, "The asteroid's composition is interfering with the field coherence." Stone gritted his teeth, his hands flying over the controls. "Compensating. Reroute auxiliary power to the emitters." The shuttle groaned under the strain as Stone pushed it beyond its design limits. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he executed a series of complex maneuvers, using the shuttle's thrusters in conjunction with the faltering tractor beam to nudge the asteroid off its collision course. Back on the planet's surface, Noah and Cox stood before a hastily assembled council of Zarquin leaders. The aliens regarded them with a mixture of fear and curiosity, their iridescent scales shimmering under the council chamber's lights. "You claim our world is in danger," the Zarquin Prime Minister said, her voice tinged with skepticism. "Yet you offer no proof beyond your word." Noah nodded to Cox, who activated a portable holographic projector. The council chamber filled with a three-dimensional representation of the star system, showing the incoming asteroid and the approaching Lemnorian fleet. Gasps echoed through the chamber as the Zarquin leaders witnessed the twin threats bearing down on their homeworld. This is impossible, one of the counselors stammered. I assure you it's very real, Noah said gravely. But there's hope. If we work together, we can save your world and defeat the Lemnorians. As if on cue, a Zarquin military officer burst into the chamber. Ministers, our long-range sensors have detected a large fleet entering the system. Their configuration matches nothing in our database. The council erupted in panicked discussion. Noah raised his voice to be heard over the commotion. Those are the Lemnorians. They're a hostile species, far more advanced than your current level of technology. But we can help you fight them. The Prime Minister's eyes narrowed. And why should we trust you, aliens who appeared out of nowhere? Noah met her gaze steadily. Because right now, we're your only hope. For a long moment, the chamber was silent. Then, the Prime Minister nodded. Very well, Captain Grant. What do you propose? As Noah outlined his plan, Cox worked feverishly with a group of Zarquin scientists, adapting their weapon systems to be more effective against Lemnorian technology. The normally reserved scientist found himself energized by the rapid exchange of ideas, marveling at how quickly the Zarquin grasped complex concepts. Meanwhile, Stone's team had finally succeeded in altering the asteroid's trajectory, but at a cost. The shuttle systems were fried, its power reserves critically low. We're not going to make it back to the Defiant, Stone realized, his voice grim. He turned to his crew. Strap in. We're going to have to attempt an emergency landing. The shuttle streaked through the planet's atmosphere, its hull glowing red-hot from the friction. Stone fought the controls, using every trick he'd ever learned to keep the craft from breaking apart. With a bone-jarring impact, the shuttle skidded across an open field, finally coming to rest in a smoking heap. Stone groaned, checking himself for injuries. Everyone all right? As his team confirmed their status, Stone activated his emergency beacon. They'd survived, but now they were stranded on an alien world with a Lemnorian invasion fleet bearing down on them. Aboard the Defiant, Noah received confirmation of Stone's successful asteroid diversion and subsequent crash landing. He allowed himself a moment of relief before refocusing on the task at hand. Zarquin fleet is in position, his tactical officer reported. Planetary defense grid is online and tied into our systems. Noah nodded, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. The Lemnorian fleet would be dropping out of FDL any moment now. He thought of Stone and his team somewhere on the planet below, of Cox working with the Zarquin scientists, of the billions of lives depending on the decisions he would make in the next few minutes. All hands, he announced, his voice steady despite the tension thrumming through his body. Prepare for battle. The stars seemed to stretch and distort as the first Lemnorian ships dropped out of FDL, their massive forms casting shadows across the planet below. Noah's hands tightened on the arms of his command chair. Here we go, he muttered. Here we go, he muttered, his eyes fixed on the tactical display as the Lemnorian ships materialized before them. The space around the Zarquin homeworld erupted into chaos as the combined human-Zarquin fleet engaged the Lemnorian invaders. The HSS Defiant surged forward, its advanced shields absorbing the initial barrage of enemy fire. Evasive maneuvers, Noah barked, his hands dancing across the control panel. Target the lead ship's propulsion systems. The Defiant's weapons officer responded instantly, unleashing a devastating volley that struck the Lemnorian vessel's engines. The enemy ship listed to port, venting atmosphere and debris. Noah's tactical acumen shone as he directed the Zarquin ships, their newly upgraded weapon systems tearing into the Lemnorian fleet with surprising effectiveness. The space around them lit up with explosions and weapons fire, a deadly dance of light and destruction. As the battle raged on, Noah's keen eye caught a pattern in the Lemnorian formations. "They're trying to surround us," he realized aloud. "But why? Their current positioning doesn't maximize their firepower." He studied the tactical display, his mind racing. Suddenly, the pieces fell into place. "Cox!" he shouted into the comm. "They're positioning to deploy a large-scale biological weapon against the planet atmosphere. We need a countermeasure. Now!" On the planet's surface, Dr. Cox's eyes widened at the implications. He turned to the Zarquin scientists around him. "We need to analyze your atmospheric composition," he said urgently. "There might be a way to use it against their weapon." As Cox and the Zarquin team worked feverishly, Captain Stone shuttle docked with the Defiant. He strode onto the bridge, his face grim but determined. "Reporting for duty, sir," he said to Noah. "What's our next move?" Noah quickly briefed Stone on the situation. "I need you to lead a strike team against the Lemnorian flagship," he said. "We've got experimental cloaking tech that should get you on board. Your mission is to sabotage their biological weapon systems and gather any intel you can on their military capabilities." Stone nodded, his expression hardening. "Consider it done, sir." As Stone assembled his team and prepared for the high-risk mission, Noah coordinated with the Zarquin military leaders. They worked to establish a planetary defense grid, integrating human tactical knowledge with Zarquin technology. "We'll need orbital platforms here, and here," Noah indicated on the holographic display, "and ground-based energy weapons at these key points. Can your teams handle that?" The Zarquin commander, her scales shimmering with an iridescent sheen, nodded. "It will be done, Captain Grant. Your strategies are impressive." As the planetary defenses took shape, the space battle intensified. Noah's tactics were keeping the Lemnorians at bay, but the enemy's superior numbers were starting to tell. A group of Lemnorian ships broke through the defensive line, streaking towards the planet's surface. "They're landing troops," Noah's tactical officer shouted. Noah gritted his teeth. "Deploy our special forces," he ordered. "They're to assist the Zarquin ground troops in repelling the invasion." On the planet's surface, human soldiers in advanced combat suits joined the Zarquin defenders. The aliens watched in awe as the humans moved with augmented speed and strength, their tactical training and advanced weaponry proving more than a match for the Lemnorian ground forces. Meanwhile, aboard the Lemnorian flagship, Stone and his team moved silently through the corridors, their cloaking tech rendering them nearly invisible. They encountered a patrol of Lemnorian guards, towering insectoid creatures with chitinous armor. Stone signaled his team. In a blur of motion, they decloaked and struck. The humans moved with practiced efficiency, their close-quarters combat training evident as they took down the much larger Lemnorians with precise strikes and throws. "Move," Stone whispered as they recloaked. "We need to find the weapon control center." Back on the Defiant, Noah received an urgent communication from Dr. Cox. "Captain, we've developed a countermeasure," Cox reported, "but it needs to be deployed from low orbit. It's a one-way trip, sir." Noah absorbed the information, his mind racing through the possibilities. He knew what had to be done. "Understood, Doctor. I'll handle the deployment myself." He turned to his second-in-command. "You have the con keep the Lemnorians occupied and provide cover for Stone's team." As Noah made his way to the shuttle bay, alarms blared throughout the ship. "Lemnorian interceptors incoming." His tactical officer's voice came over the comm. "They've detected the shuttle launch." Noah strapped himself into the pilot's seat, his hands flying over the controls. The shuttle shot out of the Defiance Bay, immediately coming under heavy fire. Noah's exceptional piloting skills were put to the test as he weaved through the barrage of enemy weapons, the countermeasure payload secure in the shuttle's hold. On the screen, He could see the Zarquin fleet moving to provide cover fire, while the Defiant engaged the Lemnorian flagship in a fierce exchange of broadsides. Noah silently wished Stone and his team good luck as he pushed the shuttle towards the optimal deployment altitude. Warnings flashed across his console as the shuttle took hit after hit. Systems began to fail, and Noah realized with grim certainty that the deployment mechanism was damaged. There was only one way to ensure the countermeasure's release. With steady hands, he initiated the manual override sequence. "Sorry, Cox," he murmured. "Looks like I won't be coming back from this one." As Noah's fingers danced across the controls, preparing for the final command that would release the countermeasure and seal his fate, the battle raged on around him. The fate of an entire civilization hung in the balance, with the actions of a few brave humans tipping the scales against a vastly superior force. In the command center of the Lemnorian flagship, Stone and his team fought their way through waves of elite guards, their human adaptability and combat skills proving a match for the alien's superior strength and technology. The vital intelligence they sought was just within reach, promising to change the course of the war and perhaps the future of humanity in the galaxy. As Noah's shuttle reached the critical altitude, his finger hovered over the final command. The universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the moment that would decide the fate of billions. The Zarquin planet below. In that moment, as his finger hovered over the final command, Noah's world erupted in chaos. The shuttle shuddered violently, alarms blaring as systems failed across the board. Noah's eyes widened as he realized the inevitable. He was going down and fast. He initiated the release sequence for the countermeasure, watching with grim satisfaction as it deployed successfully. His mission was complete, but at what cost? As the shuttle plummeted towards the planet's surface, Noah braced for impact. Suddenly, he felt a familiar tug, the unmistakable sensation of a tractor beam. Through the rapidly approaching clouds, he caught a glimpse of the HSS Defiant's sleek hull. Aboard the Defiant, Commander Jack Harper's hands flew over the controls, his face a mask of concentration. "Steady," he muttered, eyes locked on the trajectory calculations. Just a little more. The Defiant's experimental tractor beam, originally designed for asteroid manipulation, strained against the falling shuttle's momentum. Harper gritted his teeth, pushing the system to its limits. With a bone-jarring lurch, the shuttle's descent slowed, then stabilized. "We've got him," Harper announced, allowing himself a brief moment of relief before turning his attention back to the battle raging around them. As Noah's damaged craft was carefully maneuvered into the Defiant's shuttle bay, the ship rocked under enemy fire. Harper's tactical officer shouted over the din, "Sir, long-range sensors are detecting a massive Lemnorian vessel entering the system." Harper's blood ran cold as the tactical display updated, revealing a behemoth of a ship that dwarfed even the largest vessels in the Lemnorian fleet. "The World Eater," he whispered, recognizing the infamous dreadnought from intelligence briefings. In that moment, Harper faced an impossible choice. Continue Noah's rescue or break off to confront the approaching juggernaut. His mind raced, weighing options and calculating risks. Then, a spark of inspiration struck. "Deploy the Nexus pods," Harper ordered, his voice ringing with authority. The bridge crew exchanged startled glances. The Nexus pods were highly experimental, part of the top-secret Prometheus initiative. Self-contained, AI-driven combat units. They had never been tested in actual combat. But desperate times called for desperate measures. As the Defiant's bay doors opened, a swarm of sleek, silver pods erupted into space. They moved with uncanny precision, adapting their formation on the fly as they streaked towards the World Eater. The Lemnorian dreadnought's defenses opened fire, but the Nexus pods proved maddeningly elusive. They danced through the barrage, their unpredictable attack patterns confounding the enemy gunners. With the World Eater momentarily distracted, Harper refocused on Noah's rescue. The shuttle bay doors sealed shut, and Harper breathed a sigh of relief as medical teams rushed to extract the captain. Across the system, the battle raged on multiple fronts. On the Lemnorian flagship, Captain Stone and his team fought their way through waves of chitinous guards. Their close-quarters combat skills proving devastatingly effective against the much larger aliens. As they breached the ship's command center, Stone's eyes locked onto a holographic display. His heart raced as he deciphered the alien symbols. "This is it," he breathed, quickly relaying the information to his team. "They've got a hidden base in the nearby asteroid field. It's their main biological weapons facility." Stone wasted no time transmitting this crucial intelligence back to the Defiant. As the data streamed across the encrypted channel, he allowed himself a grim smile. This could be the key to turning the tide. Meanwhile, on the planet's surface, the human special forces led by Major Sarah Cox were proving their worth in the urban combat zones. Their advanced combat suits and superior tactics allowed them to outmaneuver the Lemnorian ground forces at every turn. Sarah ducked behind a crumbling wall, plasma bolts sizzling overhead. She signaled to her team, and in perfect synchronization, they leapfrogged forward, laying down suppressing fire. The Zarquin soldiers watching nearby were awestruck by the humans' fluid movements and precision. A young Zarquin officer approached Sarah during a brief lull in the fighting. "Your tactics," he said, his translator struggling to convey his awe. "They are unlike anything we have seen. Can you teach us?" Sarah nodded, her mind already formulating plans for impromptu training sessions. "We adapt," she said simply. "And now, so will you." As the ground battle slowly turned in their favor, the space around the Zarquin homeworld became a maelstrom of light and destruction. The World Eater loomed large, shrugging off conventional attacks as it inexorably approached firing position. Aboard the Defiant, Noah was rushed to the medical bay, his body racked by radiation poisoning and impact trauma. Dr. Cox worked feverishly, his hands steady despite the ship's violent maneuvering. As Cox administered a cocktail of advanced treatments, he noticed something strange on the medical readouts. Noah's cells were regenerating at an unprecedented rate, and his neural activity was off the charts. "This is impossible," Cox muttered, running the scans again. But the results were undeniable. The radiation exposure from the countermeasure had triggered some sort of mutation in Noah's physiology. On the bridge, Commander Harper received the report of Noah's condition with a mix of relief and concern. But there was no time to dwell on it. The World Eater was powering up its main weapon, a planet-destroying beam that could annihilate the Zarquin homeworld in seconds. Harper's mind raced, analyzing tactical readouts and running simulations. Conventional attacks were useless against the Dreadnought's defenses. They needed something unexpected, something the Lemnorians couldn't possibly anticipate. His eyes locked onto the ship schematic, zeroing in on the World Eater's main firing chamber. A plan audacious, possibly suicidal, but with a glimmer of hope formed in his mind. "All hands," Harper announced, his voice steady despite the hammering of his heart. "Prepare for close-quarters engagement. We're going in." The Defiant surged forward, its engines straining as it accelerated towards the massive dreadnought. Lemnorian fighters swarmed around them, but the Defiant's point-defense systems kept them at bay. As they approached the World Eater's firing chamber, Harper gave the order. "Launch quantum torpedoes." The experimental weapons streaked from the Defiant's launch tubes, their warheads crackling with awe-inspiring energy. They impacted the dreadnought superstructure, creating localized distortions in space-time that tore through metal and energy shields alike. The World Eater shuddered, great rents appearing in its hull as the quantum torpedoes did their work. But it wasn't enough. The dreadnought's main weapon was still charging, mere moments from firing. Harper's hands tightened on the arms of the command chair. "Take us in," he ordered, his voice low and intense. "We're going to put an end to this here and now." The Defiant plunged into the gaping maw of the World Eater's firing chamber, alarms blaring as the ship's systems were pushed to their absolute limits. Harper watched the tactical display, counting down the seconds until they reached the optimal firing position. "Now!" he shouted. "All weapons fire!" The Defiant unleashed its full arsenal, pouring energy weapons fire and torpedoes into the heart of the World Eater. The Dreadnought's internal systems, never designed to withstand an attack from within, buckled under the onslaught. A series of cascading explosions ripped through the World Eater's superstructure. Harper ordered full reverse thrust, and the Defiant shot out of the firing chamber just as the Dreadnought's power core went critical. The resulting explosion lit up the system like a newborn star. As the light faded, the remains of the World Eater drifted lifelessly in space, and a stunned silence fell over the battlefield. In the medical bay, Noah's eyes snapped open, his mind suddenly crystal clear. He sat up, ignoring Dr. Cox's protests, as new sensations and awareness flooded his consciousness. "The Lemnorians," Noah said, his voice stronger than it had any right to be. "They're retreating to their hidden base. We need to pursue them, end this once and for all." As Noah made his way to the bridge, his mind raced with possibilities. The Lemnorian biological weapons facility had to be neutralized, but more than that, humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage. The ripple effects of this battle would be felt across the stars. The Defiant's crew turned to Noah as he entered the bridge, their faces a mix of relief and purpose. Noah met Harper's eyes, nodding in silent thanks for the daring rescue. "Set a course for the asteroid field," Noah ordered, his voice filled with newfound strength and purpose. "It's time we took the fight to them." As the Defiant and its allies prepared for the next phase of the battle, Noah couldn't help but wonder about the changes he felt within himself. Whatever had happened to him during that desperate mission might have far-reaching consequences for humanity's future in the galaxy. But those were questions for another day. Right now, there was a war to win, and Noah Grant was ready to lead the charge. As the Defiant set course for the asteroid field, Noah felt a surge of energy coursing through his body. The changes he had undergone were more than just physical. His mind raced with newfound clarity and purpose. "Captain, I need to speak with you and Dr. Cox immediately," Noah said, his voice carrying an urgency that caught Harper's attention. In the ship's conference room, Noah, Harper, and Dr. Cox huddled around a holographic display of Noah's medical scans. The doctor's fingers danced across the controls, highlighting areas of intense neural activity and cellular regeneration. "It's remarkable," Dr. Cox explained, his eyes wide with excitement. "The radiation exposure has triggered a cascade of genetic changes. Your body is healing at an unprecedented rate, and your neural pathways are reconfiguring themselves in ways I've never seen before." Noah nodded, having already sensed these changes within himself. "There's more," he added. "I'm processing information faster, making connections that I couldn't before. It's like I can see patterns in everything." Harper leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "What are the implications of this, Doctor?" Dr. Cox hesitated for a moment before responding. "If we can understand the mechanism behind these changes, it might be possible to replicate them. We could potentially create a corps of enhanced human operatives." The implications of this statement hung heavy in the air. Noah broke the silence, his voice firm. "We need to focus on the immediate threat. The Lemnorian base in the asteroid field needs to be neutralized." As if on cue, the ship's comm system crackled to life. "Commander Harper, this is Captain Stone. We've completed our analysis of the intel from the Lemnorian flagship. You're going to want to see this." Minutes later, the conference room was filled with key members of the Alliance leadership. Stone's team had uncovered detailed schematics of the hidden Lemnorian base, revealing a massive facility built into the core of a hollowed-out asteroid. "The defenses are formidable," Stone explained, highlighting various sections of the holographic display. energy shields, automated turrets, and a small fleet of patrol ships. A frontal assault would be suicide. Noah studied the schematics intently, his enhanced mind rapidly formulating strategies. We need a multi-pronged approach, he said. A diversionary attack by the Zarquin fleet to draw their attention, while a small team infiltrates the base to disable the defenses from within. Harper nodded in agreement. I'll coordinate with the Zarquin military leaders to set up the diversion. Noah, I want you to lead the infiltration team. As the meeting concluded and preparations for the assault began, a new complication arose. The ship's sensors officer burst into the conference room, her face pale. Commander, long-range sensors had detected multiple unidentified vessels approaching the Zarquin system. They don't match any known Lemnorian designs. Harper's mind focused. Launch reconnaissance drones immediately. We need more information on these newcomers. The next few hours were a flurry of activity. On the Zarquin homeworld, Major Sarah Cox and her Human Special Forces team worked tirelessly to fortify key strategic locations. They collaborated closely with Zarquin engineers, integrating human combat tactics with local technology to create a formidable planetary defense network. Meanwhile, aboard the Defiant, Noah underwent a series of intense training sessions to hone his new abilities. Dr. Cox made another breakthrough, discovering that Noah's enhanced neural processing allowed him to interface directly with advanced alien technology. In the ship's laboratory, a team of human and Zarquin scientists worked feverishly to develop custom equipment for Noah. He stood in the center of the room, various devices attached to his body, as holographic displays flickered around him. "Try it now," one of the scientists urged. Noah closed his eyes, focusing his mind. The devices hummed to life, responding to his thoughts. A nearby Zarquin weapon system activated, its controls responding to Noah's mental commands as if they were an extension of his own body. "Incredible," Dr. Cox murmured, recording every detail of the interaction. As the Alliance fleet prepared to depart for the asteroid field, the reconnaissance drones returned with alarming data. The approaching vessels were revealed to be an advanced scout force of a previously unknown alien species, with technology that appeared to surpass both human and Lemnorian capabilities. In the Defiance war room, Noah stood before the assembled Alliance leadership. "We can't ignore this new development," he said, his voice steady. "We need to make contact with these aliens before we launch our assault on the Lemnorian base. If we can secure their neutrality or even their support, it could tip the balance in our favor." Harper nodded, though concern was etched on his face. "It's risky, but you're right. We can't afford to have an unknown player interfering with our plans. Noah, I want you to lead a small diplomatic team to attempt communication with the unknown aliens. The rest of the fleet will continue preparations for the assault on the Lemnorian base." As Noah left to assemble his team, he could feel the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. The success of their mission now hinged not only on military prowess, but also on their ability to navigate the complex landscape of galactic diplomacy. In the Defiant shuttle bay, Noah's small diplomatic team made final preparations for their departure. The customized equipment developed by the human Zarquin science team was loaded aboard, along with a suite of advanced communication devices. As Noah strapped himself into the pilot's seat of the sleek diplomatic shuttle, he took a deep breath. The fate of humanity, the Zarquin, and perhaps the entire galaxy now rested on his enhanced abilities and the outcome of this crucial first contact. The shuttle bay doors opened, revealing the vast expanse of space. With a determined nod to his team, Noah engaged the engines and the small craft surged forward into the unknown. Unknown, a mix of anticipation and trepidation coursing through the team. As they approached the lead vessel of the alien fleet, Noah's enhanced senses picked up subtle energy fluctuations emanating from the massive ship. Suddenly, the shuttle shuddered, caught in an invisible grip. "We're being pulled in," Noah announced, his hands steady on the controls despite the unexpected force. "Everyone, prepare for contact." The alien vessel's docking bay dwarfed the shuttle, its cavernous interior shimmering with an otherworldly light. As the team disembarked, Noah felt a strange sensation wash over him. Gravity seemed to shift and pulse around them, as if the very fabric of space were alive. Dr. Cox stumbled, his instruments going haywire. "Fascinating," he muttered, adjusting his equipment. "The gravitational field here is unlike anything I've ever encountered." Before them stood a group of beings that defied conventional description. Tall, crystalline forms pulsed with inner light, their bodies refracting the ambient illumination in mesmerizing patterns. Noah's mind raced, processing the alien physiology at an unprecedented rate. The beings began to communicate, not through sound, but through intricate patterns of light and vibration. The team's translators crackled and sputtered, struggling to interpret the complex signals. Noah closed his eyes, focusing his enhanced neural pathways on the alien transmissions. Slowly, patterns emerged, coalescing into coherent thoughts. I can understand them," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "They call themselves the Axiom Collective," Noah translated for his team. "They're saying they're peacekeepers, drawn here by the conflict with the Lemnorians." Dr. Cox's eyes widened. "Incredible. Noah, your ability to adapt to their communication method is unprecedented. This could give us a significant advantage in negotiations." As Noah relayed the conversation to his team, the gravity of the situation became clear. The Axiom expressed deep concern over the Lemnorian biological weapons program, viewing it as a threat to the galactic ecosystem. "They're offering to mediate the conflict," Noah explained, his brow furrowed in concentration. "But there's a catch. If we can't reach a peaceful resolution, they'll quarantine the entire sector, including Earth and the Zarquin homeworld." Krell-Xe, the Zarquin diplomat, stepped forward. "We must convince them to allow us to handle this threat ourselves. A quarantine would be devastating for both our peoples." As the negotiations progressed, Noah's mind raced with possibilities. The Axiom's advanced technology could be the key to neutralizing the Lemnorian threat, but they needed to prove themselves worthy of such assistance. Meanwhile, aboard the HSS Defiant, Commander Harper received an urgent transmission from Earth. His face paled as he digested the alarming news. Lemnorian sleeper agents had infiltrated key positions in Earth's government and military. "Initiate Protocol Omega," Harper ordered, his voice tight with tension. "I want every crew member verified and all communications channels secured. We can't risk any more infiltrators compromising our mission." Back on the Axiom vessel, Dr. Cox made a startling discovery. His scans revealed that the crystalline beings weren't organic in the traditional sense. Their bodies were composed of complex energy fields. "This explains their interest in the conflict," Dr. Cox explained to Noah and Krell-Xe. "Their unique physiology makes them immune to Lemnorian biological weapons. They're not just concerned. They're uniquely equipped to help us." Noah's mind whirred with possibilities. An idea began to form, bold, risky, but potentially game-changing. He turned to address the Axiom representatives, their crystalline forms pulsing with anticipation. "We propose a joint operation," Noah began, his words translated into pulses of light. "Your technology to detect and neutralize the Lemnorian bioweapons, combined with our forces to assault their base. Together, we can end this threat and bring stability to the sector." The Axiom representatives conferred, their bodies flashing in rapid, complex patterns. Noah held his breath, acutely aware of the weight of this moment. Finally, they turned back to the team. "Your proposal intrigues us," Noah translated their response. We see potential in your species. This operation will serve as a test, a chance for you to prove your worth as guardians of galactic stability. As Noah and his team finalized the agreement with the Axiom, activity aboard the HSS Defiant reached a fever pitch. Captain Stone implemented a series of coded protocols designed to root out potential Lemnorian imposters within the fleet. "We've identified 3 saboteurs so far," Stone reported to Harper. "They were disguised as human and Zarquin crew members. We're expanding our security checks to all ships in the fleet." On the Zarquin homeworld, Major Sarah Cox led her Special Forces team through the winding corridors of a hidden Lemnorian communication array. With practiced efficiency, they neutralized the alien operators and seized control of the facility. "Command! This is Major Cox," she reported, her voice low and urgent. "We've secured the array. Initiating Operation Mirage now." As false information began flowing to the Lemnorian fleet, Noah's diplomatic shuttle docked with the HSS Defiant. The team disembarked, their faces a mix of excitement and apprehension. Commander Harper met them in the hangar bay, his eyes immediately locking onto the strange, shimmering devices they carried, Axiom technology, the key to neutralizing the Lemnorian bioweapons. "We have an agreement," Noah announced, "but also a deadline. If we fail to tenacity this conflict quickly, the Axiom will quarantine the entire sector." Harper nodded gravely. "Then we have no time to waste. The assault on the asteroid base begins in 12 hours. Let's make them count." As the Alliance forces mobilized for their most critical mission yet, Noah felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. The fate of multiple species, the future of humanity's place in the galaxy, it all hinged on the success of their upcoming operation. With a determined nod to his team, Noah strode towards a bridge. The final countdown to their assault on the Lemnorian base had begun. Had reached its critical phase. Noah took a deep breath, steeling himself for the challenges ahead. As the Alliance fleet approached the asteroid field, the true nature of the Lemnorian defenses became apparent. Millions of microsatellites swarmed around the base, creating a dense field of electronic interference that played havoc with the fleet's sensors and communication systems. "All ships, report status," Commander Harper ordered, his voice crackling through the distorted comm channels. "Sir, we're losing cohesion," Captain Stone replied, her frustration evident. "The interference is scrambling our formation data. We can't coordinate our attack like this." Noah's mind raced, processing the problem at lightning speed. He turned to Dr. Cox, who was examining one of the Axiom devices they had brought back. "Doctor, could we use these to create a quantum-entangled communication network?" Dr. Cox's eyes widened. "Brilliant idea, Noah. It's unconventional, but it just might work." Within minutes, Noah and Dr. Cox were briefing Commander Harper on their plan. "By linking these Axiom devices across the fleet, we can establish instantaneous, interference-free communication," Noah explained. "It'll give us a significant tactical advantage." Harper nodded, his expression grim but determined. "Make it happen. We launch our assault in 30 minutes. As the fleet prepared for battle, the security protocols implemented by Captain Stone continued to root out Lemnorian infiltrators. 3 more imposters were uncovered and detained, their captures sending ripples of tension through the Allied forces. On the bridge of the HSS Defiant, Noah watched as the quantum-entangled network came online. The effect was immediate. Crystal-clear communications cut through the electronic fog, allowing for precise coordination between ships. "All vessels, prepare for engagement." Harper's voice rang out, crisp and clear despite the interference. "Zarquin squadrons, initiate your attack runs on the outer defenses." The battle erupted in a dazzling display of energy weapons and explosions. Zarquin ships, their movements fluid and unpredictable, danced through the asteroid field, drawing fire from the Lemnorian defenses. Noah turned to his hand-picked team. This is our window. We need to get to the surface of that asteroid and infiltrate the base while they're distracted. Their stealth shuttle slipped away from the Defiant, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it nearly invisible against the backdrop of the battle. Noah's enhanced senses were on high alert, guiding the shuttle through gaps in the Lemnorian sensor net. As they approached the asteroid's surface, Noah felt a familiar tingle at the base of his skull. The Axiom technology was resonating with his neural enhancements. He closed his eyes, focusing on the sensation, and suddenly found himself aware of the intricate systems within the Lemnorian base. "I can see their security grid," he murmured, his eyes moving rapidly behind closed lids. "There's a blind spot in their sensor coverage near the southern pole. We can land there." The shuttle touched down silently on the asteroid's cratered surface. Noah's team, each member equipped with Axiom-enhanced gear, moved swiftly toward a concealed airlock. Inside the base, they encountered immediate resistance. Automated defense systems sprang to life, filling the corridor with a deadly lattice of energy beams. Noah's hand shot out, fingers splayed, and the nearest defense node sparked and went dark. "How did you do that?" one of his team members asked, astonished. Noah shook his head, equally surprised. "I'm not sure. It's like I can feel the systems around us, like they're extensions of my own body." They pushed deeper into the facility, Noah's abilities allowing them to bypass security checkpoints and avoid Lemnorian patrols. But as they neared the central chamber, they encountered a squad of elite Lemnorian guards. The ensuing firefight was intense and close quarters. Noah's team used their superior training and enhanced equipment to great effect, but the Lemnorians fought with the desperation of those defending their last stronghold. As the last Lemnorian fell, Noah accessed a nearby terminal. His eyes widened as he processed the information flooding his enhanced mind. The biological weapons facility. It's massive, far larger than we anticipated. They entered the central chamber, and the true scale of the Lemnorian operation became clear. Vats of genetically engineered pathogens stretched as far as the eye could see, a testament to the existential threat the Lemnorians pose to all life in the galaxy. "We need to destroy this place," Noah said, his voice hard with drive. "All of it." As they made their way to the power core, intent on overloading the reactor, Noah received a transmission from Commander Harper. The battle in space was intensifying, with the HSS Defiant leading a daring attack on the Lemnorian flagship. "Noah, we've detected a massive Lemnorian reinforcement fleet entering the system." Harper's voice crackled through the comm. "They've seen through Major Cox's deception. We'll hold them off as long as we can, but you need to move fast." Noah's team reached the reactor control room, only to find their plans stymied by an unexpected obstacle. The reactor's fail-safe system required simultaneous deactivation from multiple control points spread throughout the base. Noah surveyed his team, knowing the difficult decision he had to make. "We need to split up," he said, his voice grave. "Each of us needs to reach a different control point. It's risky, but it's our only chance of success." As his team members nodded their understanding, Noah felt the weight of command settle heavily on his shoulders. He knew he was sending some of them to their possible deaths, but the stakes were too high to hesitate. "I'll take the most heavily defended control point," Noah said, checking his weapon. "My abilities give me the best chance of making it through." As the team separated, each member heading to their assigned position, Noah could feel the clock ticking. The Lemnorian reinforcements were drawing closer, and the fate of multiple species hung in the balance. Noah raced through the corridors, his enhanced senses allowing him to navigate the labyrinthine base with uncanny precision. He could feel the pulses of energy from the Axiom technology coursing through his body, pushing his abilities to new heights. As he approached the final control point, Noah encountered the heaviest resistance yet. A group of Lemnorian soldiers, backed by advanced combat drones, stood between him and his objective. Noah's mind raced. Analyzing the situation in microseconds, he reached out with his enhanced abilities, feeling the complex web of electronic systems around him. With a thought, he redirected the energy flow in the corridor, causing the lights to flare blindingly bright. In the moment of confusion, Noah struck. His movements were a blur as he engaged the Lemnorian forces, his enhanced reflexes and strength allowing him to move within human speed and precision. As the last drone fell, sparking and twitching, Noah reached the control panel. His fingers flew over the alien interface, his mind interfacing directly with the Lemnorian systems. "Team, report status." Noah called out, his voice tense. One by one, his team members responded, each having reached their assigned control points. As the last confirmation came in, Noah allowed himself a small smile. "On my mark," he said, his hand hovering over the final command input. 3, 2, 1. Execute. Mark. Noah's command echoed through the comm system as he and his team simultaneously deactivated the failsafe controls. The reactor's containment field began to fluctuate, alarms blaring throughout the facility. "Overload sequence initiated," Noah announced, his fingers flying over the alien interface. "We have 15 minutes to evacuate before this place becomes a very expensive firework." As Noah turned to leave, a barrage of plasma fire erupted from the corridor. A squad of Lemnorian soldiers had regrouped, determined to stop the humans at any cost. Noah's enhanced reflexes kicked in, his body moving within human speed. He ducked behind a control panel, plasma bolts sizzling past his head. His mind raced, analyzing the situation in microseconds, reaching out with his augmented senses. Noah felt the complex web of electronic systems surrounding him. With a thought, he redirected power to the corridor's emergency systems. Blast doors slammed shut, cutting off half the Lemnorian squad. Taking advantage of the confusion, Noah sprinted forward, his movements a blur. He engaged the remaining Lemnorians in close combat, his enhanced strength and speed giving him a decisive edge. As the last soldier fell, Noah's calm crackled to life. "Noah, this is Commander Harper. The situation up here is deteriorating rapidly. We've detected a massive Lemnorian reinforcement fleet entering the system. They've seen through Major Cox's deception." Noah's heart raced as he processed the implications. "Understood, Commander. We're on our way out now." He switched channels, addressing his team. "Everyone, report status and head to the extraction point immediately." One by one, his team members responded, each having encountered fierce resistance. Captain Stone's voice came through, strained and breathless. "This is Stone. We're pinned down near Control Point C. These Lemnorian elite guards are putting up one hell of a fight." Noah made a split-second decision. "Hold your position, Captain. I'm on my way." He sprinted through the labyrinthine corridors of the base, his enhanced senses allowing him to navigate with uncanny precision. As he approached Stone's position, he could hear the intense firefight echoing through the halls. Noah burst into the room, immediately assessing the situation. Captain Stone and her team were trapped behind makeshift barricades, exchanging fire with a group of heavily armed Lemnorian guards. Without hesitation, Noah leaped into action. He moved with blinding speed, closing the distance to the nearest Lemnorian before the alien could react. Noah's augmented strength allowed him to disarm the guard with a single, precise strike. Using the captured weapon, Noah laid down suppressing fire, giving Stone's team the opening they needed. The human Special Forces soldiers, their movements fluid and coordinated, advanced with deadly efficiency. As the last Lemnorian fell, Captain Stone approached Noah, her expression a mix of relief and urgency. "Thanks for the save, but we're cutting it close. That reactor won't wait for us." Noah nodded grimly. "Let's move." As they made their way towards the extraction point, Noah's calm buzzed again. It was Dr. Cox, his voice tense but excited. Noah, I've made a critical discovery. There's a vulnerability in the Lemnorian bioweapons. We can exploit it using a modified version of the Axiom technology. Noah's mind raced, processing the new information. Send me the details, Doctor. I'll see what I can do. As they navigated the collapsing facility, Noah's neural interface absorbed the data from Dr. Cox. His enhanced mind quickly formulated a plan. They reached the central control hub, and Noah held up his hand, signaling the team to wait. "I need 2 minutes," he said, approaching a terminal. His fingers danced over the alien interface, his mind interfacing directly with the Lemnorian systems. Noah integrated Dr. Cox's modified Axiom technology into the base's network, creating a cascading effect that would not only amplify the reactor overload, but also neutralize the stored bioweapons. As he worked, Noah uncovered startling information about the true extent of the Lemnorian biological weapons program. The scale of their plans for galactic domination sent a chill down his spine. Suddenly, a group of Lemnorian scientists and technicians appeared, their hands raised in a gesture of surrender. One of them stepped forward, speaking in halting English. "We wish to help. Not all Lemnorians agree with this war." Noah exchanged a quick glance with Captain Stone, who nodded her assent. "All right," Noah said to the Lemnorian. "What can you tell us?" The defectors provided crucial insider knowledge, allowing Noah to complete the modified overload sequence in record time. As they finished, the entire base shuddered ominously. "Time to go," Noah announced, leading the group towards the nearest airlock. As they ran, Commander Harper's voice came through the comm once more. "Noah, the Lemnorian reinforcements have broken through our lines. They're approaching your position fast. The window for evacuation is closing rapidly." Noah's mind raced, calculating their options. He realized with a sinking feeling that there might not be enough time for everyone to reach the extraction point. "Captain Stone," he said, his voice filled with commitment, "get everyone to the shuttles. I'll stay behind to ensure the overload sequence completes." Stone began to protest, but Noah cut her off. "That's an order, Captain. The mission comes first." As the team and the Lemnorian defectors raced towards the airlocks, Noah turned back to the control hub. He worked feverishly, fine-tuning the overload sequence and integrating the last of Dr. Cox's modifications. The base's systems began to fail around him, creating a gauntlet of collapsing corridors and malfunctioning equipment. Noah's enhanced abilities were pushed to their limits as he navigated the disintegrating facility. With seconds to spare, Noah reached the outer hull of the asteroid base. The reactor's energy readings were off the charts, the overload sequence nearing its explosive conclusion. In a final, desperate move, Noah used his augmented strength to breach an airlock. He propelled himself into the void of space, the vacuum enveloping him as the Lemnorian facility began to implode behind him. Floating in the darkness, Noah watched the massive explosion ripple through the asteroid field. The unique energy signature created by the modified Axiom technology spread outward, neutralizing any remaining bioweapons in its path. As his suit's emergency beacon activated, Noah could only hope that the Alliance forces would reach him before his life support systems failed. The battle might be won, but his own fate hung in the balance, adrift in the cold expanse of space. Space. Noah's consciousness flickered, his mind drifting between the vast emptiness surrounding him and the fading warmth of his suit's failing life support systems. The explosion of the Lemnorian base had propelled him far into the debris field, where he floated, a speck of life amidst the cosmic devastation. Aboard the HSS Defiant, Commander Harper's voice rang out with urgency. "All ships, focus your scanners on the debris field. We need to find Lieutenant Grant immediately." Captain Stone stood at attention, her face etched with purpose. "Commander, request permission to lead a search and rescue team." "Granted." Harper replied without hesitation. Take our most advanced shuttle. We can't lose him out there. As the Alliance fleet maintained a defensive posture against potential Lemnorian counterattacks, the search for Noah intensified. Hours passed with no sign of the hero, each moment stretching the limits of hope. Suddenly, a shimmering distortion appeared at the edge of the system. An Axiom vessel, its crystalline structure refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns, approached the human Zarquin fleet. A melodic voice resonated through the communication channels. We have observed your conflict and wish to offer assistance. Our scanning technology may aid in locating your lost warrior. Commander Harper's eyes widened at this unexpected development. We welcome your help, he responded, keenly aware of the significance of this moment. The Axiom vessel extended tendrils of energy, interfacing with the Alliance ship systems. Enhanced sensor data flooded the displays, revealing previously hidden pockets within the debris field. Captain Stone's voice crackled over the comm. Commander, we're picking up a faint signal. Coordinates locked. Go, Harper ordered, his voice taut with anticipation. Stone's shuttle weaved through the treacherous maze of asteroid fragments, its hull scraping against jagged edges more than once. As they approached the signal's source, the co-pilot gasped. There, visual contact. Floating amidst a dense cluster of debris was Noah's motionless form, his suit's emergency lights flickering weakly. Stone maneuvered the shuttle closer, extending a rescue arm to gently secure Noah. We've got him, she reported, relief evident in her voice. But his suit systems are critical. We need to get him back to the Defiant now. The shuttle raced back through the debris field, pushing its engines to the limit. As soon as they docked, a medical team led by Dr. Cox rushed Noah to the emergency bay. Cox's face was grim as he assessed Noah's condition. The vacuum exposure and radiation have done severe damage, he reported to Commander Harper. Even with his enhancements, I'm not sure our standard treatments will be enough. Harper's teeth clenched. What are our options? Cox's eyes lit up with a spark of inspiration. The Axiom technology, combined with Zarquin medical knowledge. If we could create a hybrid healing pod, it might be enough to save him. Harper nodded. Make it happen, Doctor. As Cox and his team worked frantically to construct the experimental pod, the Alliance leadership convened to discuss the aftermath of the Lemnorian base's destruction. Reports flooded into the enemy fleet's full retreat from the sector. Major Sarah Cox's hologram flickered to life in the command center. The exposure of Lemnorian infiltrators has led to a complete overhaul of Earth's security protocols, she reported. We're implementing new measures to prevent future incursions. A Zarquin representative stepped forward, their multifaceted eyes gleaming. In light of our successful alliance, we propose a formal military pact. Shared technology, joint training, mutual defense. Commander Harper exchanged glances with his human counterparts before responding. We're open to negotiations. This could be a significant step forward for both our species. As discussions continued, news of the victory spread across subspace channels. Several neutral races reached out, expressing interest in diplomatic relations with Earth. The galaxy's political landscape was shifting, with humanity emerging as a key player. In the medical bay, Dr. Cox watched as Noah's vital signs stabilized within the hybrid healing pod. The Axiom representatives observed with fascination, their crystalline forms pulsing with energy. Your adaptation of our technology is intriguing, one of them commented. We see potential for greater cooperation in the future. Cox nodded, his eyes fixed on the readings. Thank you for your assistance. This could revolutionize our medical capabilities. As Noah fought for his life within the pod, the seeds of a new galactic order were being sown. The Human-Zarquin Alliance, bolstered by their victory and the Axiom's cautious approval, stood poised to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Commander Harper stood before a holographic display of the sector, contemplating their next move. The Lemnorians had been dealt a significant blow, but he knew this was only the beginning. As he formulated plans for a joint space station and future operations, Harper couldn't help but wonder what role Noah would play in the conflicts to come. In the depths of the experimental healing pod, Noah's cells underwent microscopic changes, adapting and evolving in ways no one could have predicted. The true extent of these transformations and their implications for the future of humanity remained to be seen. Remained to be discovered. As Noah's cells underwent their microscopic metamorphosis, the experimental healing pod hummed with energy. Dr. Cox's eyes darted between the readouts, his brow furrowed in concentration. Suddenly, a series of rapid beeps filled the air, causing the doctor to snap to attention. "Incredible," he muttered, furiously typing commands into the nearby console. "The cellular regeneration rate is off the charts." Commander Harper strode into the medical bay, his face a mask of concern. "How's our patient, Doctor?" Dr. Cox turned, his eyes shining with excitement. "Commander, you're not going to believe this. The combination of Noah's enhancements, the Lemnorian tech exposure, and our hybrid pod, it's triggered something unprecedented. His body is adapting at an alarming rate." Harper leaned in, studying the holographic display of Noah's vital signs. "Is he going to make it?" "Make it," Dr. Cox laughed, a sound of pure scientific joy. "Commander, he's going to come out of this stronger than ever. But the implications, we need to convene the Alliance leadership immediately." As word of Noah's miraculous recovery spread through the fleet, the HSS Defiant became a hive of activity. The Human-Zarquin Alliance, flush with their recent victory, set course for a nearby star system to establish a temporary base of operations. In the ship's main conference room, key figures gathered around a large holographic display. Commander Harper stood at the head of the table, flanked by Captain Stone and a holographic projection of Admiral Viktor Volkov, his craggy features set in a stern expression. "Ladies and gentlemen," Harper began, "we find ourselves at a critical juncture. Dr. Cox, please brief the Assembly on Lieutenant Grant's condition." As Dr. Cox detailed his findings, a palpable tension filled the room. Admiral Volkov's hologram flickered as he leaned forward, his voice gruff with urgency. "This is exactly the edge we need. We must expand the enhancement program immediately." Captain Stone's eyes narrowed. "With all due respect, Admiral, we can't rush into this. The long-term effects of such widespread genetic modification are unknown." The debate raged on, with passionate arguments from both sides. As they argued, reports began streaming in from across the sector. The Lemnorian defeat had left a power vacuum, and opportunistic factions were moving quickly to fill it. Harper raised his hand, silencing the room. "We can debate the enhancement program later. Right now, we need to stabilize the region. I'm initiating Operation Starfire effective immediately." The conference room erupted into a flurry of activity as the Alliance leadership began coordinating their response. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing the deployment of peacekeeping forces and the establishment of early warning stations. In the midst of this controlled chaos, a new hologram materialized, a shimmering, crystalline form that commanded immediate attention. The Axiom Elder, Lumina, spoke in a voice that seemed to resonate on multiple frequencies. "We have observed your efforts with great interest," Lumina said, her form pulsing with inner light. "The Axiom Collective wishes to offer its assistance in the construction of your new outpost." Harper exchanged glances with his officers, recognizing the significance of this offer. "We would be honored to accept your help," he replied, careful to maintain a diplomatic tone. As plans for the massive Nexus station took shape, Noah Grant finally emerged from his healing pod. He sat up slowly, blinking as his eyes adjusted to the light. Dr. Cox rushed to his side, scanner in hand. "How do you feel, Lieutenant?" the doctor asked, running the device over Noah's body. Noah flexed his fingers, a look of wonder crossing his face. "I feel different, stronger, like I can sense everything around me with perfect clarity." As Noah spoke, the lights in the medical bay flickered and dimmed. He looked down at his hand, startled to see small arcs of energy dancing between his fingers. Dr. Cox's eyes widened. "Fascinating. It seems your enhanced physiology has developed some unexpected side effects. We'll need to run more tests to dash." Noah's sudden movement cut him off. In the blink of an eye, the lieutenant was across the room, his hand accidentally crushing a nearby medical tray. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice tight with concern. "I didn't mean to dash." "It's all right," Dr. Cox assured him, though his voice betrayed a hint of worry. "We'll help you adjust to these new abilities. But first, I believe Commander Harper will want a full debriefing." As Noah made his way to the command center, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. He arrived to find Harper and Stone hunched over a tactical display, their faces grim. "What's the situation?" Noah asked, fighting to control his enhanced senses in the midst of the chaos. Harper looked up, his expression a mix of relief at seeing Noah and concern over the unfolding crisis. "Long-range sensors have detected a massive energy surge in a distant sector. We believe the Lemnorians have activated some kind of superweapon." Noah's mind raced, processing the information at an accelerated rate. "What's our plan of attack?" Before Harper could respond, Admiral Volkov's hologram materialized. "We strike now, with everything we've got," the Admiral thundered. "We can't give those bastards a chance to use their weapon." Captain Stone shook her head. "That's too risky. We need more intel before we commit to a full-scale assault." As the argument intensified, Lumina's crystalline form appeared once more. "Perhaps," the Axiom Elder interjected, "there is another way. We possess technology that could allow a small team to infiltrate the Lemnorian stronghold undetected." The room fell silent as the implications of this offer sank in. Noah stepped forward, his eyes blazing with commitment. "I volunteer to lead the infiltration team." Harper nodded slowly, his mind already formulating a plan. "Assemble an elite squad. Captain Stone, you'll accompany Lieutenant Grant. We'll need the best of both human and Zarquin operatives for this mission." As the team began to form, another alarm sounded. A junior officer rushed into the room, his face pale. "Commander, we've intercepted Lemnorian communications. They know about Nexus Station, so they're planning a massive assault." Harper's teeth gritted as he surveyed the room. The Alliance now faced a two-pronged threat, a potential superweapon and an imminent attack on their fledgling base. The decisions made in the next few moments would shape the course of the war, and perhaps the future of the galaxy itself. Noah met Harper's gaze, his enhanced mind already calculating probabilities and strategies. "Your orders, sir?" The commander took a deep breath, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. "Prepare for infiltration, Lieutenant, but be ready to redirect at a moment's notice. We're about to face our greatest challenge yet." As the room erupted into a flurry of activity, Noah felt a surge of energy coursing through his body. Whatever trials lay ahead, he knew that the fate of humanity and their newfound allies would rest on the success of their next move. Noah's words hung in the air as the command center buzzed with activity. Commander Harper nodded, his expression grave. "Prepare for infiltration, Lieutenant. But first, we need to get you combat ready." Over the next few days, the medical bay of the HSS Defiant underwent a radical transformation. Dr. Cox oversaw the installation of reinforced training equipment designed to withstand Noah's enhanced strength. Holographic projectors lined the walls, creating immersive simulations to test his heightened senses. Noah stood in the center of the modified bay, his eyes closed as he focused on controlling the energy coursing through his body. Dr. Cox watched from behind a protective barrier, his fingers flying over a data pad as he recorded every twitch and fluctuation. "All right, Lieutenant," Dr. Cox called out. "Let's start with something simple. Try to lift the weight to your left without touching it." Noah opened his eyes, concentrating on the large metal cube. It trembled slightly, then slowly rose into the air. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he held it aloft for several seconds before gently lowering it back to the ground. "Excellent progress," Dr. Cox murmured, making notes. "Now, let's work on your reaction time." As Noah continued his training, the rest of the Alliance sprang into action. Admiral Volkov's gruff voice echoed through the corridors of Nexus Station as he directed the installation of advanced defense systems. Zarquin engineers worked alongside human technicians, their movements precise and coordinated as they integrated their technologies. "I want those auto turrets online yesterday," Volkov barked, his holographic form flickering as he strode through the station's command center. "The Lemnorians could be here any minute." Commander Harper stood at a tactical display, reviewing the latest defense drill results. His brow furrowed as he analyzed the data. "We're still vulnerable in Sectors 7 and 12, he muttered to Captain Stone. "See if you can redistribute our shield generators to compensate." Stone nodded, already tapping commands into her console. As she worked, a communication alert flashed on her screen. "Commander, I've got an incoming transmission from the Vexcar delegation. They're ready to discuss terms." Harper's eyes lit up. "Excellent. Take it in the conference room. If we can secure their stealth tech, it could be a game changer for our infiltration mission." As Stone left to handle the negotiations, the Axiom delegation arrived in the station's primary engineering bay. Lumina's crystalline form pulsed with energy as she addressed the gathered technicians. "The integration of our cloaking technology requires precise calibration," Lumina explained, her voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "We must ensure compatibility with both human and Zarquin systems without compromising efficiency." As the engineers began the delicate process, Lumina turned to a nearby human scientist. "In our history, we face a threat not unlike your Lemnorians," she said, her form shimmering. "The path to peace was long and arduous, but not impossible. Perhaps our experiences can provide insight into your current conflict." Meanwhile, in a nearby sector, Major Sarah Cox led a strike force against a suspected Lemnorian outpost. Her fighter squadron streaked through space, weapons primed. "Target acquired," her wingman reported. "Commencing attack run." Energy beams lanced out, striking the hidden base. Explosions bloomed in silence against the backdrop of stars. As the debris cleared, Sarah's sensors picked up a flurry of Lemnorian communications. "Mission accomplished," she reported back to Nexus Station. "But they know we're expanding our range. Expect increased activity in this sector." Back on the HSS Defiant, Noah completed his final training session. He stood before Commander Harper, Captain Stone, and a mixed team of human and Zarquin operatives, his body humming with controlled energy. "The infiltration plan is set," Harper announced, activating a holographic display of the Lemnorian stronghold. "Each of you has a specific objective based on your unique skills. Noah, you and Captain Stone will lead the advance team. Your primary goal is intelligence gathering and, if possible, sabotage of the superweapon's power source." As the team reviewed their assignments, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. A young officer burst into the room, his face pale. "Commander, long-range sensors have detected a massive energy surge from the Lemnorian weapon's suspected location. It's showing signs of activation." The room erupted into chaos as Harper barked orders. "We need to move now. Noah, get your team to the shuttle bay immediately. We'll have to accelerate the timeline." As Noah and his team raced through the corridors, another alarm sounded. Admiral Volkov's voice boomed over the intercom. All hands to battle stations. Lemnorian fleet detected on intercept course with Nexus Station. This is not a drill. Noah and Captain Stone exchanged glances as they reached the modified stealth shuttle. The weight of their mission pressed down on them as they realized the full scope of the crisis unfolding around them. "We've got 3 fronts now," Stone said grimly as they boarded the shuttle. "The station, the superweapon, and us." Noah nodded, his enhanced senses already picking up the increased activity throughout the ship. As the shuttle's engines hummed to life, he could almost feel the tension rippling through space. "Advance team, you are cleared for launch," Harper's voice crackled over the comm. "May luck be with you. The fate of the Alliance rests in your hands." The shuttle bay doors slid open, revealing the vast expanse of space. In the distance, Noah could see flashes of weapons fire as the first wave of Lemnorian ships engaged the Alliance fleet. With a deep breath, Noah engaged the Axiom cloaking technology. The shuttle shimmered and vanished from view as it slipped out of the bay, leaving behind the chaos of the impending battle. As they set course for the heart of Lemnorian territory, Noah's mind raced with possibilities. The success of their mission could mean the difference between victory and annihilation. With his newly enhanced abilities and the fate of multiple species hanging in the balance, Noah steeled himself for the challenges ahead. The stealth shuttle accelerated, carrying its invisible crew towards destiny as the stars streaked by in silent witness to the unfolding drama. The shuttle slipped silently through the void, its Axiom cloaking technology rendering it invisible to Lemnorian sensors. Noah's enhanced senses tingled as he absorbed every detail of their surroundings. Captain Stone sat beside him, her eyes fixed on the navigation display. "ETA to target coordinates." 15 minutes, Stone announced, her voice tight with tension. Noah nodded, then froze as a strange sensation washed over him. "Wait," he said, closing his eyes to focus. "I'm picking up an unusual energy signature. It's not coming from our destination." Stone frowned. "Where?" "There." Noah pointed to a cluster of asteroids drifting to their port side. "It's faint but definitely artificial." The captain studied her instruments, then shook her head. "Our sensors aren't detecting anything unusual." "Are you sure?" Noah's eyes snapped open, glowing with an otherworldly light. "Positive. Whatever it is, it's big." Stone weighed her options for a moment, then made a decision. "All right, let's check it out. It could be related to the superweapon." As they altered course, the 2 Zarquin specialists exchanged glances. Krizon, the team's tech expert, spoke up. "Captain, if I may, our mission parameters dash." "I know," Stone cut him off, "but Noah's abilities have proven invaluable so far. If he's sensing something, we need to investigate." The shuttle glided towards the asteroid field, maneuvering between the slowly tumbling rocks. As they approached the largest asteroid, the true scale of what they were seeing became apparent. "By the void," Vexlor, the Zarquin combat specialist, whispered. "It's a base." Built into the core of the massive asteroid was an intricate Lemnorian installation. Energy fields shimmered around docking bays, and sensor arrays protruded from the rocky surface. Stone guided the shuttle towards a less active area of the base, searching for a way in. "There," Noah pointed to a small maintenance airlock. "I can get us through that." Stone nodded, bringing the shuttle alongside the airlock. The team donned their spacesuits, and Noah led the way out of the shuttle. Using his enhanced strength, he gripped the edges of the airlock and began to pry it open. The metal groaned and bent under his fingers until, with a final wrench, the door slid aside. Once inside, the team split up. Noah and Vexlor headed towards the energy source Noah had detected, while Stone and Krizon made their way to what they hoped was the facility's control center. Noah and Vexlor moved swiftly through the winding corridors, avoiding Lemnorian patrols with a combination of Noah's heightened senses and Vexlor's stealth training. As they descended deeper into the asteroid, the energy signature grew stronger. Finally, they emerged onto a catwalk overlooking a vast chamber. Noah's breath caught in his throat as he took in the sight before them. A massive particle accelerator dominated the space, its rings pulsing with barely suppressed energy. "This must be the superweapon," Vexlor said, his voice hushed with awe and fear. Noah's mind raced, analyzing the weapon's design at an accelerated rate. There, he pointed to a series of power conduits. "If we can overload those, it should create a cascading failure. We can destroy the weapon without risking a catastrophic explosion." As Noah and Vexlor began their sabotage efforts, Stone and Krizan had located the base's control center. Using Krizan's technical expertise, they managed to bypass the security systems and gain access to the Lemnorian computer network. "I'm in," Krizan announced, his fingers flying over the alien interface. "Downloading all available data now." Stone kept watch at the door, her weapon ready. "Hurry," she urged. "We don't know how long until dash." She was cut off by a sudden alarm blaring through the facility. Krizan's head snapped up from his work. "They've detected the intrusion." Stone's calm crackled to life. "Captain," Noah's voice came through, tight with urgency. "We've been compromised. What are your orders?" Stone's mind raced through their options. "Continue with the sabotage," she decided. "We need to make sure this weapon never fires. Krizan, and I will secure an escape route. Meet us at the shuttle in 10 minutes. As Noah and Vexlor worked frantically to overload the superweapon's power systems, Stone and Krizan fought their way back through the facility. Lemnorian security forces converged on their position, forcing them to take a more circuitous route to the airlock. With mere seconds to spare, Noah and Vexlor completed their sabotage. The particle accelerator began to shake, energy arcing wildly between its components. They sprinted for the exit, narrowly avoiding falling debris as the chamber began to collapse behind them. The team regrouped at the airlock, boarding their shuttle under heavy fire from Lemnorian troops. As Stone piloted them away from the disintegrating asteroid base, Noah's enhanced vision caught sight of other Lemnorian ships fleeing the area. "We did it," Vexlor said, relief evident in his voice. "The superweapon is destroyed." But Stone's expression remained grim. "It's not over yet," she said, studying the data they'd stolen. "According to this, there are more weapons like that one. We've won a battle, but the war is far from finished." As the shuttle accelerated away from the asteroid field, Noah's thoughts turned to Nexus Station and the fleet. He could only hope their mission had bought the Alliance the time it needed to turn the tide of the larger battle. The shuttle's communication system crackled to life, carrying a burst of encrypted data. Stone's eyes widened as she decrypted the message. "It's from Admiral Volkov," she announced. "The Lemnorians have launched their assault on Nexus Station. We're being ordered to return immediately with any intelligence we've gathered." Noah felt a surge of energy course through his body as he processed the implications. Their mission had been successful, but at what cost? As the shuttle changed course and accelerated towards Nexus Station, he knew that the true test of their newfound alliance was about to begin. As the shuttle raced towards Nexus Station, Noah's enhanced vision caught sight of distant flashes of weapons fire. The battle had already begun. "We need to get back there as quickly as possible," Stone said, her fingers flying over the control panel. "But first, we have to complete our mission." Noah nodded, understanding the gravity of their situation. They had destroyed one superweapon, but the intel they'd gathered suggested there were more. They couldn't afford to waste this opportunity. The shuttle's engines hummed as Stone pushed them to maximum speed. Noah turned to Vexlor, the Zarquin combat specialist. "We need to analyze the data we've collected. Every second counts." As Krizan began decrypting the stolen files, Noah's enhanced mind raced through the information. Patterns emerged, connections formed, and a clear picture of the Lemnorian superweapon network began to take shape. There, Noah pointed to a series of coordinates on the holographic display. These must be the locations of the other weapons. Stone's eyes widened as she took in the scope of the Lemnorian operation. We need to transmit this information to Admiral Volkov immediately. As Krizan prepared the data burst, alarms blared throughout the shuttle. Stone's hands flew across the controls, her face grim. Lemnorian fighters on intercept course. They must have detected our transmission. Noah's body tensed, ready for action. I'll man the weapon system, he said, moving to the gunner station. The shuttle shuddered as energy blasts from the Lemnorian fighters struck their shields. Noah's enhanced reflexes allowed him to target the enemy ships with preternatural accuracy. Beams of concentrated energy lanced out from the shuttle, catching one of the Lemnorian fighters off guard. The ship exploded in a silent burst of light and debris. "Nice shot," Stone called out, her voice tight with concentration as she maneuvered the shuttle through the incoming fire. As the dogfight intensified, Noah's enhanced senses picked up an anomaly. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy surge from the coordinates of the nearest superweapon installation." Stone's face paled. "They're powering it up. We're out of time." In that moment, Noah made a decision. "We need to split up," he said, his voice firm. "You take the shuttle and the intel back to Nexus Station. I'll go after the superweapon." "That's suicide," Vexlor protested. "You can't possibly." "I'm the only one with a chance of stopping it," Noah interrupted. "My enhancements give me the best shot at sabotaging the weapon before it can fire." Stone hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Agreed, but you're not going alone." She turned to Vexlor. "You're with him. Your combat skills and knowledge of Zarquin tech might give you an edge." As Noah and Vexlor prepared to leave, Krizan approached them with a small device. "I've modified this beacon to emit a signal that should mask your approach from Lemnorian sensors. It won't last long, but it might be enough to get you close." Noah took the device, nodding his thanks. He and Vexlor made their way to the shuttle's airlock, where a pair of personal propulsion units waited. As they prepared to launch, Stone's voice came over the comm. "Good luck, you two. May the stars guide your path." With a hiss of depressurization, the airlock opened. Noah and Vexlor launched themselves into the void, their propulsion units flaring to life. As they streaked towards the coordinates of the Lemnorian superweapon, Noah's mind raced with possibilities. The vastness of space stretched out before them, punctuated by the distant flashes of the battle around Nexus Station. Noah's enhanced vision picked out the faint outline of an asteroid field ahead, likely concealing the Lemnorian base. As they approached, Noah's senses tingled with a familiar energy signature. "There," he said, pointing to a particularly large asteroid. "The weapon's inside that one." Vexlor nodded, adjusting his course. "Remember, we need to be subtle. If we trigger any alarms before reaching the main chamber, we're as good as dead." They navigated through the asteroid field, using the natural cover to mask their approach. As they neared their target, Noah spotted a small maintenance airlock, similar to the one they'd used on the previous base. "There's our way in," he said, maneuvering towards it. Using his enhanced strength, Noah pried open the airlock, allowing them to slip inside undetected. Once in, they quickly made their way through the winding corridors of the base, avoiding Lemnorian patrols with a combination of Noah's heightened senses and Vexlor's stealth training. As they descended deeper into the asteroid, the energy signature grew stronger. Noah could feel the power thrumming through the walls, setting his nerves on edge. Finally, they emerged onto a catwalk overlooking a vast chamber. Below them, a massive particle accelerator dominated the space, its rings pulsing with impossibly strong energy. Lemnorian scientists and technicians swarmed around control panels, making final adjustments to the weapon. Noah's mind raced, analyzing the weapon's design at an accelerated rate. He pointed to a series of power conduits near the base of the accelerator. If we can overload those, it should create a cascading failure. We can destroy the weapon without risking a catastrophic explosion. Vexlor nodded, his eyes scanning the room for potential threats. I'll cover you. Just tell me what you need. As Noah began to formulate a plan, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. The Lemnorian personnel below looked up in confusion, then began scrambling to secure the weapon. We've been detected, Vexlor hissed, drawing his weapon. Noah's enhanced hearing picked up fragments of panicked Lemnorian communications. It's not us, he realized. Something's happening at the control center. We need to move now, while they're distracted. Without waiting for a response, Noah vaulted over the catwalk railing, using his superhuman agility to land silently on the chamber floor. Vexlor followed close behind, his Zarquin stealth training allowing him to move like a shadow. As they approached the power conduits, a group of Lemnorian guards burst into the chamber, weapons raised. Noah's enhanced reflexes kicked in, allowing him to duck and weave through the incoming fire. He grabbed a piece of fallen debris, hurling it with superhuman strength at the nearest guard. The impact sent the Lemnorian flying, creating a momentary opening. Cover me! Noah shouted to Vexlor as he sprinted towards the power conduits. Vexlor unleashed a barrage of suppressing fire, forcing the Lemnorian guards to take cover. Noah reached the conduits and began working furiously, his enhanced mind processing the alien technology at an incredible speed. As Noah disconnected power couplings and rerouted energy flows, he could feel the weapon's power building to a crescendo. They were running out of time. Suddenly, Noah's enhanced hearing picked up the sound of approaching footsteps. A new group of Lemnorian guards was converging on their position, cutting off their escape route. With the sabotage nearly complete, Noah knew they needed a new plan. His eyes darted around the chamber, searching for a solution. That's when he spotted it. A maintenance tunnel leading away from the main chamber. Vexlor, Noah called out, gesturing towards a tunnel. We need to find another way out. As Vexlor provided covering fire, Noah finished the final adjustments to the power conduits. The particle accelerator began to shake, energy arcing wildly between its components. It's done! Noah shouted. Let's move! They sprinted for the maintenance tunnel, narrowly avoiding falling debris as the chamber began to collapse behind them. As they raced through the winding passages, Noah's enhanced senses guided them through the maze-like structure of the asteroid base. Behind them, they could hear the sounds of pursuit and the ominous rumble of the failing superweapon. Noah knew they were running out of time. They needed to find a way off the asteroid before it was too late. As they rounded a corner, Noah's enhanced vision caught sight of something unexpected. A hidden hangar containing what appeared to be prototype Lemnorian fighters. A glimmer of hope sparked in his mind. There! Noah pointed towards the ships. That's our ticket out of here. As they approached the fighters, a voice called out from the shadows. Stop right there. Noah and Vexlor froze, weapons at the ready. From behind a console stepped a Lemnorian, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. I am Zendar, the Lemnorian said, his voice urgent. I can help you escape, but we must hurry. This entire facility is about to be destroyed. Noah and Vexlor exchanged quick glances, weighing their options. With the sound of approaching guards echoing through the corridors and time running out, they realized they had little choice but to trust this unexpected ally. Lead the way, Noah said, gesturing towards the fighters. As Zendar input the access codes to activate the prototype ships, the asteroid base shuddered ominously around them. The sabotage superweapon was reaching critical failure. Quickly, Zendar shouted, climbing into one of the fighters. We have mere moments before the entire asteroid is torn apart. Noah and Vexlord didn't need to be told twice. They scrambled into the second fighter, Noah taking the pilot's seat while Vexlord manned the weapon systems. As the hangar doors began to open, revealing the star-studded expanse of space beyond, Noah's hands flew over the unfamiliar controls. His enhanced mind quickly adapted to the alien technology, bringing the fighter to life. With a burst of energy, the two prototype ships launched from the disintegrating asteroid base, streaking away just as a massive explosion tore through the facility behind them. The shockwave buffeted their ships, but Noah's enhanced reflexes allowed him to maintain control. As they accelerated away from the destruction, Noah's attention was drawn to the ongoing battle around Nexus Station. Alliance and Lemnorian ships clashed in a deadly dance, energy weapons lighting up the darkness of space. We need to get back to the station, Noah said, adjusting their course. But in these Lemnorian ships, we'll be targeted by our own forces. Vexlord nodded grimly. We'll need to transmit identification codes quickly. Let's hope someone on our side is paying attention. As they approached the fringes of the battle, Noah's enhanced vision caught sight of the HSS Defiant, engaged in a fierce firefight with a group of Lemnorian cruisers. Their stolen fighters were immediately targeted by Alliance forces, unaware of the vessel's friendly occupants. Noah pushed the prototype fighter to its limits, his enhanced piloting skills allowing him to execute maneuvers that would have been impossible for a normal human. They weaved through a hail of weapons fire, desperately trying to avoid being shot down by their own allies. Transmitting identification codes now, Vexlord announced, his fingers flying over the communications panel. As they dodged and weaved through the chaotic battlefield, Noah's mind raced. They had destroyed two of the Lemnorian superweapons and escaped with crucial intelligence. But the battle for Nexus Station was a long way to go. And with the full extent of the Lemnorian superweapon network still unknown, Noah knew that their most significant challenges might still lie ahead. Ahead, with their stolen Lemnorian fighters racing towards Nexus Station, Noah's enhanced senses detected the imminent threat of friendly fire. "Incoming missiles," he shouted, his hands a blur over the unfamiliar controls. The fighter banked hard, narrowly avoiding a barrage of Alliance weaponry. Vexlord's voice crackled over the comm. "Our identification codes aren't getting through. We need a new plan, fast." Noah's mind raced, processing battlefield data at superhuman speeds. He spotted the HSS Defiant engaged with a group of Lemnorian cruisers and made a split-second decision. "Follow my lead," he instructed, pushing the fighter into a steep dive. They weaved through the chaotic battle, energy beams and debris flashing past their viewports. Suddenly, Noah's enhanced hearing picked up a familiar voice cutting through the calm static. It was Captain Stone, her words tense but clear. "This is Captain Stone to Commander Harper. Confirmation code Delta 79er. We have critical intelligence and are approaching in commandeered Lemnorian vessels. Request immediate ceasefire on our position." There was a moment of tense silence as Noah continued his evasive maneuvers. Then, Commander Harper's voice boomed across the channel. "Confirmation received, Captain. All Alliance vessels. Cease fire on the approaching Lemnorian fighters. I repeat, cease fire. Those are friendlies." Noah exhaled in relief as the incoming fire abruptly ceased. He adjusted their course, bringing the fighter in line with the Nexus Station's main docking bay. "Nexus Station, this is Noah Grant," he transmitted, requesting emergency docking clearance for two Lemnorian fighters. "Clearance granted," came the swift reply. "Proceed to docking bay 3. Security teams are standing by." As they approached the station, Noah noticed a shift in the battle around them. The Alliance ships were regrouping, their tactics changing in response to the sudden ceasefire. The Lemnorian forces, caught off guard by this unexpected development, seemed to hesitate. Noah guided the fighter into the docking bay with precision, setting it down gently beside Captain Stone's vessel. As the bay repressurized, he saw a team of armed security personnel approaching, accompanied by a group of scientists and intelligence officers. The fighter's hatch hissed open, and Noah emerged, his enhanced senses immediately taking in every detail of the bustling docking bay. He spotted Dr. Cox among the crowd, her medical scanner already in hand. "Noah," she called out, hurrying over. "Are you all right? Any adverse reactions to the enhancements?" Before he could respond, Captain Stone's voice cut through the commotion. "We need to get this intelligence to command immediately. The fate of the entire alliance could depend on it." Noah nodded, falling in step beside her as they were quickly ushered towards a secure briefing room. As they walked, he noticed the questioning glances directed at Zendar, the Lemnorian defector who had aided their escape. "He's with us," Noah stated firmly, silencing any potential objections. His information could be crucial. In the briefing room, they found Commander Harper and a team of Alliance analysts waiting. Without preamble, Captain Stone began uploading the data they recovered from the Lemnorian base. "We've uncovered the full extent of their superweapon network," she explained, her voice grim. "There are multiple installations, each capable of devastating entire star systems." As the analyst began poring over the data, Noah felt a wave of fatigue wash over him. The adrenaline of the mission was wearing off, and his enhanced body was starting to feel the strain. Dr. Cox noticed his discomfort immediately. "I need to run a full diagnostic," she insisted, guiding him to a nearby medical station. "Your enhancements have been pushed to their limits. We need to ensure there are no unforeseen complications." As Noah submitted to the examination, he kept one ear tuned to the ongoing briefing. The Alliance cryptographers were making rapid progress, decoding the Lemnorian plans with growing excitement. "This is incredible," one of them exclaimed. "With this information, we can potentially neutralize their entire superweapon network before they have a chance to use it." Commander Harper's voice was cautiously optimistic. "This could be the turning point we've been waiting for. But we need to act fast. The Lemnorians won't take this setback lightly." Noah's attention was drawn back to Dr. Cox as she completed her initial scans. Her brow was furrowed in concentration as she studied the results. "Your enhancements are holding up remarkably well," she said, a note of surprise in her voice. "But there are signs of stress at the cellular level. We'll need to monitor you closely in the coming days." Before Noah could respond, a commotion at the briefing room's entrance caught everyone's attention. Admiral Volkov strode in, his uniform bearing the marks of recent combat. "The Lemnorian fleet is in full retreat," he announced, his voice carrying a mix of triumph and caution. "But we've detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the system. Something big is coming our way." The room erupted into a flurry of activity as Alliance personnel scrambled to identify the new threat. Noah stood, pushing aside his fatigue, ready to face whatever challenge lay ahead. The battle for Nexus Station might be over, but he knew the war was far from won. As the Alliance prepared for potential Lemnorian reinforcements, Noah's enhanced mind was already formulating new strategies. Whatever came next, he was determined to be ready to face whatever challenge lay ahead. As the briefing room buzzed with activity, Admiral Volkov strode to the central holographic display. With a wave of his hand, he brought up a 3D map of the surrounding star systems. "Our long-range sensors have picked up multiple energy signatures consistent with Lemnorian superweapon technology," he explained, his voice grave. "We believe they're testing smaller-scale versions of their weapons in these systems." Noah studied the map intently, his enhanced mind rapidly processing the tactical implications. "They're preparing for a coordinated attack," he concluded. Admiral Volkov nodded. "Precisely, which is why we need to act fast." He turned to address the room. I'm proposing the formation of a specialized task force to target the remaining Lemnorian superweapon installations. We're calling it Operation Thunderbolt. Captain Stone stepped forward. Sir, with all due respect, we don't have the resources for a full-scale assault on multiple fronts. You're right, Volkov agreed. That's why we're going to hit them hard and fast with a small elite team. He turned to Noah. Grant, I want you to lead this operation as field commander. Captain Stone will be your second in command. Noah straightened, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. I'm ready, sir. Dr. Cox interjected, her medical scanner still in hand. Admiral, I must insist on joining the team. We need to monitor the enhanced operatives closely, especially under combat conditions. Volkov considered for a moment, then nodded. Agreed. Your expertise could prove invaluable in the field. As the details of Operation Thunderbolt were hashed out, Noah's attention was drawn to Zendar, the Lemnorian defector, who stood quietly at the edge of the group. An idea began to form in Noah's mind. Sir, he addressed Admiral Volkov, I believe Zendar's insider knowledge could be crucial to the success of our mission. I'd like to request that he join the task force as well. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to the Lemnorian. Zendar stepped forward, his posture straight and determined. I am willing to do whatever it takes to stop my people's misguided aggression, he stated firmly. Admiral Volkov studied Zendar for a long moment before nodding. Very well, but he'll be your responsibility, Grant. With the core team assembled, the briefing shifted to logistical matters. The Axiom Collective, eager to contribute to the Alliance's efforts, offered a state-of-the-art stealth transport ship for the task force's use. The Shadow Striker, Commander Harper explained, bringing up schematics of the vessel. It incorporates both Axiom and Zarquin technology, making it virtually undetectable to Lemnorian sensors. As the briefing concluded, Noah felt a surge of anticipation. He knew the challenges that lay ahead would push him and his enhanced abilities to their limits. Our first target has been identified, Admiral Volkov announced, zooming in on a distant ice planet. A heavily fortified Lemnorian facility. On the planet, we've codenamed Frostbite. Intelligence suggests it houses one of their primary superweapon installations. Noah studied the holographic representation of the frozen world, his mind already formulating strategies. The extreme cold and complex security systems would pose significant challenges, but he was confident in his team's abilities. As the meeting adjourned, Noah pulled Zendar aside. I need everything you can tell me about Lemnorian cold weather operations and their security protocols, he said. Zendar nodded, his eyes gleaming with determination. I will provide all the information I can. Together, we will put an end to this madness. Over the next few hours, Noah worked closely with his team to prepare for the mission. New equipment was rapidly developed and tested, including advanced thermal suits and modular weapon systems designed to adapt to various combat scenarios. Dr. Cox approached Noah as he was testing the thermal suit's responsiveness. How are you feeling? She asked, her medical scanner humming as she ran it over him. Noah flexed his hands, marveling at the suit's flexibility. I feel ready, he replied. How's the data from the enhancements looking? So far, so good, Dr. Cox said, studying her readings. But we'll need to monitor you closely during the mission. The extreme conditions on Frostbite could put unprecedented stress on your systems. As final preparations were made, Noah gathered his team in the Shadow Striker's briefing room. Captain Stone, Dr. Cox, Zendar, and a select group of enhanced operatives and Zarquin technical experts stood at attention. Our mission is clear, Noah began, his voice steady and confident. We infiltrate the Frostbite facility, neutralize the superweapon, and extract with any intel we can gather. The Alliance is counting on us to strike a decisive blow against the Lemnorian war machine. He looked each team member in the eye, seeing perseverance reflected back at him. We have the best technology, the most advanced ship, and a team with unparalleled skills. But our greatest strength is our unity. Human Zarquin, and yes, even Lemnorian, he nodded to Zendar, working together towards a common goal. As Noah concluded the briefing, the Shadow Striker's engines hummed to life. The sleek vessel slipped out of Nexus Station's docking bay, cloaking systems engaging as it accelerated towards its target. On the bridge, Noah settled into the pilot's seat, his enhanced senses attuned to every aspect of the ship's operations. As the stars streaked by outside the view screen, he allowed himself a moment of reflection. The battle for Nexus Station had been won, but the war was just the beginning. The true test lay ahead, on a distant world of ice and hidden dangers. The Shadow Striker entered hyperspace, carrying Operation Thunderbolt towards its first crucial mission. As the ship hurtled through the void, Noah's mind raced with possibilities, strategies, and potential obstacles. Whatever challenges Frostbite held, he and his team would face them head-on, united in their grit to safeguard the future of the Alliance and bring an end to the Lemnorian threat. The Shadow Striker emerged from hyperspace, its stealth systems immediately engaging as it approached the ice planet Frostbite. Noah's enhanced vision scanned the frozen world below, picking out the telltale signs of the Lemnorian facility hidden beneath the glacial surface. "Initiating descent," Noah announced, his hands dancing over the controls with preternatural precision. "Prepare for atmospheric entry." The ship shuddered as it pierced Frostbite's upper atmosphere, ice crystals forming on the viewports. Noah guided the vessel through swirling snow clouds, relying on his augmented senses to navigate the treacherous conditions. "Energy readings are spiking," Captain Stone reported from her station. "The facility's defenses are active, but they haven't detected us yet." Noah nodded, bringing the Shadow Striker to a hover over a vast ice field. "This is our insertion point. Zendar, any last-minute intel on the facility's layout?" The Lemnorian defector stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the holographic display. "The main entrance will be heavily guarded. I suggest we use the maintenance tunnels here." He pointed to a network of narrow passages snaking beneath the facility. "They're less secure, but navigating them will be challenging." "Challenging is what we do best," Noah replied, a hint of a smile on his face. "Gear up, team. We move in 5. As the strike force made final preparations, Dr. Cox approached Noah, medical scanner in hand. "One last check," she insisted, running the device over him. Her brow furrowed as she studied the results. "Your neural activity is already elevated. Be careful in there, Noah. We don't know how your enhancements will react under extreme stress." Noah nodded, understanding the gravity of her warning. "I'll be cautious, document, but we've got a job to do." Moments later, the team descended from the Shadow Striker on grappling lines, their advanced thermal suits protecting them from Frostbite's lethal cold. Noah took point, leading them towards a concealed entrance Zendar had identified. As they approached the facility's outer perimeter, Noah's enhanced senses detected a subtle shift in the energy field surrounding the installation. He held up a hand, signaling the team to halt. "Something's not right," he muttered, focusing his augmented vision on the facility's central structure. "The energy signature. It's more complex than our intel suggested." Captain Stone stepped up beside him, her own sensors scanning the area. "What are you seeing, Grant?" Noah's mind raced, processing the data flooding his enhanced neural pathways. "The weapon isn't a single unit. It's a network of interconnected power nodes surrounding the central chamber. They've adapted the design, made it more resilient." Zendar's eyes widened in recognition. "A fail-safe system. If one node is compromised, the others can compensate." Noah quickly formulated a new strategy. "We'll need to hit all the nodes simultaneously to overload the system. Captain, take your team and plant explosives on those power nodes. Zendar and I will head for the main control room, to override their safety protocols. Dr. Cox, stay with the rear guard and coordinate our communications. As the team prepared to split up, a piercing alarm suddenly cut through the frigid air. Red warning lights began flashing across the facility's exterior. "They've detected us," Captain Stone shouted, unslinging her weapon. So much for the element of surprise. Noah's enhanced reflexes kicked into overdrive as he spotted the first wave of Lemnorian security forces emerging from the facility. "Move out," he ordered, leading the charge towards the nearest entrance. The team scattered, each group racing towards their objectives as energy bolts sizzled through the air around them. Noah and Zendar sprinted for the main structure, their combined skills making short work of the initial defenders. Noah vaulted over a barricade, his augmented strength allowing him to close the distance to a Lemnorian guard in seconds. He delivered a lightning-fast series of blows, incapacitating the alien before it could raise its weapon. Beside him, Zendar moved with the fluid grace of a trained operative, his intimate knowledge of Lemnorian tactics proving invaluable. As they fought their way deeper into the facility, Noah's calm crackled to life. "Grant, this is Stone. We're encountering heavy resistance en route to the power nodes. These Lemnorian bastards really don't want us getting close to their toy." "Understood, Captain," Noah replied, ducking under an energy blast and returning fire. "Keep pushing. We need those explosives in place." Noah and Zendar finally reached the central control room, securing the area after a fierce firefight. As Zendar began working on overriding the weapons safety protocols, Noah's enhanced sense picked up a new threat. "We've got company," he warned, positioning himself at the entrance. A lot of company. A wave of Lemnorian elite guards poured into the corridor, their weapons unleashing a barrage of energy bolts. Noah's augmented reflexes allowed him to dodge and weave through the assault, his own weapon finding its mark with uncanny accuracy. As the battle raged, Noah felt a sudden spike of pain lance through his head. His vision blurred momentarily, his enhanced senses threatening to overload from the intense stimuli. "Noah," Dr. Cox's voice cut through the chaos. "Your neural activity is off the charts. You need to dial it back or risk permanent damage." Gritting his teeth against the pain, Noah pushed forward. "Nuchimi, Doki. We're almost there." In the control room, Zendar let out a triumphant shout. "I've done it! The safety protocols are down!" But their victory was short-lived. As the final firewall fell, a new alarm began blaring throughout the facility. A holographic countdown appeared above the main console, its numbers rapidly descending. "They've triggered a failsafe," Zendar exclaimed, his fingers flying over the controls. "The weapon is set to activate in 3 minutes." Noah's mind raced, assessing their options. "Captain Stone, status report." "Explosives are in place." Stone's voice came back, strained from exertion. "But we're pinned down by reinforcements. We can't reach the detonator." In that moment, Noah made a critical decision. "Get your team to the extraction point," he ordered. "I'm going to redirect the weapon's energy." "Noah, no!" Dr. Cox protested. "The neural interface could kill you." But Noah was already moving, placing his hands on the pulsing energy conduits that fed into the main control panel. He closed his eyes, allowing his enhanced neural pathways to interface directly with the weapon systems. Pain exploded behind Noah's eyes as raw energy coursed through his body. His augmented mind grappled with the alien technology, fighting to redirect the immense power building within the facility. As Noah struggled, the rest of the team fought their way back to the rendezvous point. Captain Stone's voice came through the comm, urgent and strained. "Grant, we're at the extraction point, but we're surrounded. We need backup." Through the haze of pain, Noah made one final push. With a thought, he redirected the weapon's energy, channeling it back into the facility itself. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The floor beneath Noah's feet began to buckle as the redirected energy tore through the installation. Alarms blared, and the air filled with the sound of rending metal and shattering ice. "It's done," Noah gasped, stumbling away from the console. "Zendar, we need to move. Now!" As they raced through the collapsing facility, Noah's enhanced senses began to falter. His vision swam and his reflexes slowed. Yet he pushed on, driven by the need to reach his team. They arrived at the extraction point to find Captain Stone's group locked in a fierce firefight with Lemnorian forces. Noah's entrance into the battle was like a force of nature, his augmented abilities allowing him to turn the tide single-handedly. "Get to the ship," he roared, providing cover fire as his teammates scrambled aboard the Shadow Striker. As the last of the team made it to safety, Noah felt his strength finally give out. He collapsed to his knees, the world spinning around him. Through blurred vision, he saw Captain Stone rushing towards him, her lips moving in words he couldn't hear. The last thing Noah felt was Stone's arms around him, dragging him towards the ship as the facility crumbled around them. Then, mercifully, darkness claimed him. Noah's world faded to black as the Shadow Strikers' hatch sealed shut behind them. The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them away from the collapsing Lemnorian facility. Captain Stone's voice echoed distantly as she barked orders, guiding their escape through Frostbite's treacherous atmosphere. "Stay with me, Grant," Stone commanded, her fingers pressed against Noah's neck, checking for a pulse. "Cox, we need you here now." Dr. Cox rushed to Noah's side, her medical scanner already whirring to life. "His neural activity is off the charts," she reported, her voice tight with concern. "We need to get him to a proper medical facility immediately." The journey back to Nexus Station passed in a blur of urgent activity. Dr. Cox worked tirelessly to stabilize Noah's condition, using every tool at her disposal to keep his overloaded neural pathways from shutting down completely. As the Shadow Striker docked at Nexus Station, a team of medical personnel was already waiting. They whisked Noah away on a hovering gurney, Dr. Cox rattling off a series of complex medical instructions as they raced through the station's corridors. In the days that followed, Nexus Station buzzed with a mix of triumph and anxiety. The destruction of the Frostbite facility had dealt a significant blow to the Lemnorian war machine, but the cost had been high. Noah Grant, the linchpin of Operation Thunderbolt, lay in critical condition, his enhanced mind and body pushed beyond their limits. Dr. Cox, fueled by a combination of professional duty and personal concern, threw herself into the task of saving Noah's life. She commandeered an entire section of the station's medical bay, transforming it into a cutting-edge facility designed specifically for treating enhanced human operatives. "I need a direct neural interface, compatible with his augmentations," Cox demanded, her eyes never leaving the holographic display of Noah's brain activity. "And get me those axiom crystals we've been experimenting with. We're going to need every advantage we can get." As the medical team worked around the clock, the rest of the Alliance grappled with the aftermath of the Frostbite mission. Admiral Volkov convened an emergency meeting of the Alliance leadership, the holograms of key figures flickering to life around the central planning table. "The destruction of the Frostbite facility has bought us some time," Volkov began, his weathered face set in grim lines. "But our long-range sensors have detected a massive energy surge deep within Lemnorian space. Intelligence suggests they're accelerating the development of their remaining superweapons." Captain Stone, still bearing the marks of the recent battle, leaned forward. "We can't give them time to regroup. We need to press our advantage." "Agreed," Volkov nodded, "which is why I'm proposing Operation Shattered Sky, a coordinated, multi-pronged assault on all known Lemnorian superweapon installations." The holographic chamber erupted in a flurry of voices, some supportive, others cautious. Commander Harper's avatar raised a hand, silencing the debate. "Admiral, with all due respect, that's an enormous risk." we'd be stretching our forces thin, leaving us vulnerable if the Lemnorians counterattack. A risk we must take, Volkov countered. If we allow them to bring these weapons online, we won't stand a chance. As the discussion intensified, Zendar stepped forward, his Lemnorian features standing out among the human and Zarquin faces. I can provide detailed information on Lemnorian defensive strategies, he offered. It may help us refine our attack plans. The planning session stretched on for hours, with strategies proposed, debated, and refined. As the Alliance leadership hammered out the details of Operation Shattered Sky, activity on Nexus Station reached a fever pitch. Engineering teams worked around the clock, reverse engineering the Lemnorian technology recovered from frostbite. New weapon systems and defensive measures took shape, each breakthrough bringing a spark of hope to the beleaguered Alliance. In the midst of this controlled chaos, a ripple of excitement spread through the station. Dr. Cox emerged from the medical bay. Exhaustion etched on her face, but a glimmer of triumph in her eyes. He's stabilized, she announced to the waiting group of Alliance leaders. The combination of axiom crystal therapy and nanoregeneration techniques seems to have done the trick. He's regained consciousness, but... She hesitated, her professional demeanor slipping for a moment. We're still unsure of the long-term effects on his abilities. The news of Noah's recovery spread quickly, providing a much-needed morale boost to the Alliance forces. As preparations for Operation Shattered Sky kicked into high gear, Noah found himself at the center of a debate over his role in the upcoming offensive. "You can't be serious," Dr. Cox protested, standing toe-to-toe with Admiral Volkov outside the medical bay. He's barely out of critical condition. Putting him back in the field could undo everything we've accomplished. Volkov's expression was sympathetic but firm. "I understand your concerns, Doctor, but Grant's experience with Lemnorian defenses is invaluable. We need him for this operation to succeed." In the end, a compromise was reached. Noah would coordinate operations from a command ship, utilizing his enhanced cognitive abilities to analyze data and direct strike teams without engaging in direct combat. As the day of the assault approached, Nexus Station transformed into a hive of activity. The shipyards worked at maximum capacity, fitting Alliance vessels with the latest weapons and defensive systems. Zarquin engineers fine-tuned their most advanced stealth technology, while human techs put the finishing touches on new EMP weapons designed to penetrate Lemnorian shields. In a surprising turn of events, representatives from several neutral alien species arrived at Nexus Station, offering their support in the upcoming offensive. The sudden influx of new allies presented both opportunities and challenges, forcing the Alliance leadership to quickly adapt their battle plans. Noah, still recovering but driven by a sense of urgency, threw himself into the task of coordinating the diverse strike teams. His enhanced mind sifted through vast amounts of intelligence data, identifying patterns and vulnerabilities that others had missed. As the launch date for Operation Shattered Sky drew near, the space around Nexus Station filled with an unprecedented gathering of ships. Vessels of all shapes and sizes, representing a coalition of species united against the Lemnorian threat, formed up in precise formations. On the bridge of the command ship, Noah stood before a massive holographic display, his enhanced senses taking in every detail of the assembled fleet. He felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders, knowing that the upcoming battle would shape the future of the galaxy. "All strike teams, report in," Noah commanded, his voice steady despite the tension thrumming through his body. As the confirmations came in, he allowed himself a moment to take in the scale of what they were about to attempt. The countdown to the launch of Operation Shattered Sky began, each second bringing them closer to a confrontation that would determine the fate of countless worlds. Noah's enhanced mind raced with calculations and contingencies, preparing for every possible outcome. As the final seconds ticked away, Noah took a deep breath, centering himself for the challenge ahead. The command ship's engines hummed to life, ready to lead the Alliance fleet into battle. With a thought, Noah activated the ship-wide communication system, his voice reaching every corner of the massive vessel. "This is it," he began, his words carried to every member of the Alliance force. "Everything we've fought for, everything we've sacrificed, has led us to this moment. The Lemnorians think they've seen the best we can offer. It's time to show them how wrong they are." With a surge of energy, the Alliance fleet engaged their engines, leaping into hyperspace towards their designated targets. Operation Shattered Sky was underway, and the destiny of the universe hung in the balance. Balance. With a final nod to his team, Noah gave the command that would set the galaxy-spanning operation into motion. "All units, commence Operation Shattered Sky." The Alliance fleet surged forward, ships of various designs and origins moving in perfect synchronization. As they entered Lemnorian space, the vast armada split into multiple strike groups, each targeting a specific superweapon installation. From his position on the command ship HSS Vanguard, Noah's enhanced mind processed a constant stream of data from across the battlefield. Holographic displays flickered around him, showing real-time updates from each front. "Strike Team Alpha, you have a clear approach to your target," Noah communicated, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Zarquin cruisers, provide cover fire for their insertion." The initial phase of the operation unfolded with precision. Human Special Forces teams, utilizing their advanced stealth technology, breached the outer defenses of 2 Lemnorian installations. Noah watched their progress through helmet cam feeds, his enhanced cognitive abilities allowing him to simultaneously monitor and direct multiple teams. "Team leader, target the primary power conduits," Noah instructed, his fingers dancing over a holographic interface. "Our intel suggests overloading them will trigger a cascade failure throughout the facility." As the Special Forces planted their explosives, the space above the targeted planets erupted into fierce combat. Zarquin battle cruisers engaged the Lemnorian defensive fleets, their newly developed weapons tearing through enemy shields with unprecedented effectiveness. Noah's attention snapped to a new alert. "Axiom warships, this is your moment. Push through their lines and clear a path for our ground forces." The crystalline hulls of the Axiom vessels glowed with otherworldly energy as they accelerated into the fray. Lemnorian weapons fire seemed to dissipate harmlessly against their surfaces. In response, the Axiom ships unleashed brilliant beams of energy that sliced through Lemnorian vessels like paper. As the operation progressed, Noah's enhanced senses detected a shift in the battle's dynamics. "All units near installation Gamma, be advised. We're detecting unusual energy readings." On the planet's surface, Alliance ground forces found themselves facing an unexpected threat. Swarms of nanobots coalesced into impenetrable barriers, adapting to and neutralizing Alliance weapons in real time. Noah's mind raced, analyzing the nanobot swarm's behavior patterns. "Engineering teams, recalibrate our EMP devices. We need localized bursts to disrupt their coordination without affecting our own systems." As Alliance forces implemented Noah's countermeasure, a new threat emerged. A massive Lemnorian dreadnought, previously hidden within an asteroid field, revealed itself. Its prototype superweapon began decimating Alliance ships with terrifying efficiency. Noah's enhanced vision zoomed in on the behemoth vessel, his mind already formulating a plan. Despite the objections of Dr. Cox, who warned of the potential damage to his still-recovering systems, Noah made his decision. "Prepare a shuttle for immediate launch," he ordered, his voice brooking no argument. "I'm leading a boarding party against that dreadnought." Minutes later, Noah found himself strapped into a sleek assault shuttle, surrounded by a hand-picked team of elite operatives. As they approached the massive Lemnorian vessel, waves of enemy fighters swarmed towards them. "Evasive maneuvers," Noah called out, but the shuttle's pilot, Jack Hawkins, was already ahead of him. Hawkins' hands danced across the controls, guiding the shuttle through a series of impossible turns and rolls. Enemy fire streaked past them, missing by mere inches as they closed in on their target. Breaching charges ready, one of the operatives reported as they neared the dreadnought's hull. Noah nodded, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to brace perfectly as the charges detonated, creating their entry point. The team surged into the Lemnorian vessel, immediately engaging the alien defenders in close-quarters combat. Noah's augmented strength and speed proved crucial as they fought their way through the maze-like corridors. His fists connected with Lemnorian armor, the impacts reverberating through the ship's structure. Yet with each passing moment, he could feel the strain on his enhanced systems growing. As they neared the dreadnought's control center, a searing pain lands through Noah's skull. His vision blurred, the enhanced sensory input becoming a chaotic mess of data. Gritting his teeth, he pushed through the discomfort, knowing the fate of the operation hung in the balance. The final push into the control room was a blur of gunfire and hand-to-hand combat. Noah's team fought with desperate intensity, aware of the battle raging outside and the limited time they had to complete their mission. With the control room secured, Noah staggered to the central console. His fingers, trembling from the strain on his augmentations, flew across the alien interface. He initiated a complex hacking sequence, pushing his enhanced cognitive abilities to their absolute limit. As Noah worked, his team held off waves of Lemnorian reinforcements attempting to retake the control room. The air filled with the acrid smell of weapons fire and the cries of the wounded from both sides. Noah's vision swam, the edges of his perception growing dark as he neared the final stages of the hack. With a Herculean effort, he pushed through the last of the Lemnorian security protocols. His enhanced mind interfaced directly with the ship's systems, seizing control of its devastating weapon. In the space of a heartbeat, Noah redirected the dreadnought's superweapon, targeting the largest concentration of Lemnorian ships. The resulting blast tore through space, obliterating a significant portion of the enemy fleet. As the tide of battle turned decisively in the Alliance's favor, Noah's enhanced systems finally gave out. He collapsed to the deck, his body racked with convulsions as his augmentations overloaded. "Noah!" One of his team members cried out, rushing to his side. The last thing Noah saw before losing consciousness was the desperate faces of his team as they prepared to fight their way back to the extraction point, carrying their fallen leader. The fate of Operation Shattered Sky, and perhaps the entire war, now rested on their ability to escape the Lemnorian dreadnought and get Noah the medical attention he desperately needed. The extraction team moved swiftly through the corridors of the Lemnorian dreadnought, their footsteps echoing off the metallic walls. Captain Stone led the charge, his rifle at the ready as they navigated the labyrinthine interior of the alien vessel. Life signs detected ahead. One of the team members called out, gesturing to a blinking display on her wrist. As they rounded the corner, they were met with a hail of energy bolts. Noah's team had established a defensive perimeter, fighting off waves of Lemnorian troops attempting to reclaim their unconscious leader. "Friendly forces incoming," Captain Stone shouted over the din of battle. "Cease fire and prepare for immediate extraction." The two groups merged seamlessly, their training kicking in as they formed a protective circle around Noah's prone form. Medics rushed to assess his condition while the rest of the team laid down, suppressing fire. "We need to move now," Captain Stone ordered, his voice taut with urgency. "This ship's not going to hold together much longer." As if to emphasize his point, a violent tremor shook the dreadnought, causing loose panels to crash to the floor. The team began their retreat, with two soldiers carefully carrying Noah between them. The Lemnorians pressed their attack, desperate to prevent the Alliance forces from escaping with their prize. In the chaos of the firefight, Krelvor, a Zarquin specialist from Noah's team, spotted a structural weakness in the corridor ahead. "I can buy us time," Krelvor announced, his multifaceted eyes gleaming with tenacity. Before anyone could stop him, he darted forward, planning an explosive charge on a support beam. Clear for Vite. Captain Stone called out, but it was too late. The Zarquin activated the charge, collapsing the corridor behind them and sealing himself off with the pursuing Lemnorians. The last they saw of him was a defiant smile as he turned to face the oncoming enemy. With heavy hearts but renewed drive, the extraction team pressed on. They could feel the dreadnought shuddering around them, systems failing as the damage from Noah's hijacking of the superweapon cascaded through the ship. As they neared the extraction point, Captain Stone's comm crackled to life. "This is Lieutenant Cox. The shuttle is docked and ready for immediate departure. Be advised, the Dreadnought's power core is showing signs of imminent meltdown." "Copy that, Lieutenant," Stone replied. "We're almost there. Prepare for a hot extraction." The team rounded the final corner, only to find themselves face to face with a squad of Lemnorian elites. Energy weapons flared to life, filling the air with deadly bolts of plasma. In the ensuing firefight, several Alliance soldiers fell, their cries of pain adding to the cacophony of battle. Captain Stone took a glancing hit to his shoulder, but continued to direct his team's movements. "Cover me!" he shouted, before sprinting forward with a handful of flashbang grenades. He lobbed them into the midst of the Lemnorian formation, the resulting explosion of light and sound disorienting the alien soldiers. Taking advantage of the confusion, the extraction team made their final push. They burst into the docking bay, where Lieutenant Sarah Cox was waiting at the controls of their shuttle. "Everyone aboard now!" she yelled, her fingers flying over the shuttle's systems as she prepared for an emergency departure. The team piled in, carefully securing Noah's unconscious form. As the last soldier crossed the threshold, Lieutenant Cox disengaged the docking clamps and gunned the engines. The shuttle shot out of the failing dreadnought, just as secondary explosions began to ripple through its hull. Lieutenant Cox's piloting skills were put to the test as she navigated through a gauntlet of debris and enemy fire. A stray energy blast clipped their port side, sending the shuttle into a wild spin. Warning klaxons blared as the life support systems began to fail. "Damage report," Captain Stone demanded, strapping himself into the co-pilot's seat. "Life support's critical, and we've lost our long-range comms," Cox replied, her face a mask of concentration as she fought to stabilize their flight path. "I'm plotting an emergency course to the HSS Vanguard. It's our best shot." As they sped towards their lifeline, the battle raged around them. The destruction of the Lemnorian flagship had thrown the enemy forces into disarray, leading to erratic and desperate attacks. Aboard the HSS Vanguard, Dr. Cox received the urgent transmission about Noah's condition. His face set in unshakable focus as he barked orders to his medical team. "Convert the primary cargo bay into a sterile field now." He commanded, "I want every piece of medical tech we have, human, Zarquin, and Axiom, ready for immediate use." As the doctor prepared for Noah's arrival, he couldn't help but worry about the unique challenges presented by the young man's enhanced physiology. The strain of the recent battle may have pushed Noah's systems beyond their limits, and Dr. Cox feared the damage might be irreparable. The rescue shuttle's approach to the HSS Vanguard did not go unnoticed. A group of Lemnorian fighters, in a last-ditch effort to prevent Noah's rescue, broke off from the main battle to intercept. Just as it seemed the shuttle would be overwhelmed, a squadron of Axiom interceptors appeared, led by the crystalline pilot Zara. The Axiom ships moved with impossible grace, their crystalline structures morphing in real time to adapt to the Lemnorians' attack patterns. "This is Zara of the Axiom Collective," a melodic voice announced over the comms. "We will ensure your safe passage to the Vanguard." The display of advanced Axiom combat capabilities left both Alliance and Lemnorian forces in awe. The crystalline ships danced through space, their weapons cutting through the enemy fighters with surgical precision. Under the cover of the Axiom squadron, the rescue shuttle successfully docked the HSS Vanguard. As soon as the airlock sealed, A team of medics rushed in, whisking Noah away to the makeshift medical bay. Dr. Cox met them at the entrance, his experienced eyes quickly assessing Noah's condition. "Prepare the nanite injections," he ordered, leading the way to the treatment area. "And bring the Axiom Crystal Resonance Therapy Unit online. We're going to need everything we've got to stabilize his systems." As Noah fought for his life under Dr. Cox's care, the rest of the Alliance forces pressed their advantage. Admiral Volkov's voice boomed through the ship's communication system, announcing the initiation of Operation Ironclad. "All units, this is Admiral Volkov. The Lemnorian war machine has been dealt a crippling blow. Now is the time to strike. Operation Ironclad is a go. Let's end this war once and for all." The HSS Vanguard shuddered as it changed course, joining the massive Alliance fleet as it prepared to launch a multi-pronged offensive against key Lemnorian worlds. The battle for Noah's life mirrored the larger struggle unfolding across the galaxy, with the fate of entire civilizations hanging in the balance. The HSS Vanguard's engines roared to life, propelling the massive ship towards its next objective as Operation Ironclad unfolded across the stars. In the makeshift medical bay, Dr. Cox worked tirelessly over Noah's unconscious form. The young operative's body convulsed sporadically, his enhanced system struggling to stabilize after the intense strain of the mission. Sweat beaded on the doctor's brow as he administered a cocktail of nanites and experimental drugs, his eyes fixed on the erratic readings of Noah's vital signs. "Come on, son," Dr. Cox muttered, adjusting the settings on a piece of Axiom medical technology. "You've got more fight in you than this." As if in response to the doctor's words, Noah's body suddenly went still. For a heart-stopping moment, the medical bay fell silent. Then, with a sharp gasp, Noah's eyes flew open, their irises shimmering with an otherworldly, crystalline sheen. "Doctor," Noah croaked, his voice hoarse but filled with an eerie clarity. "Something's different." Dr. Cox leaned in, his expression a mix of concern and fascination. "Noah, how do you feel?" Noah sat up, his movements unnaturally fluid. He held up his hand, turning it slowly as if seeing it for the first time. Faint lines of crystalline structure pulsed beneath his skin, following the paths of his veins. "I feel connected," Noah replied, his eyes darting around the room. "I can sense the ship systems, the Axiom tech. It's like I'm part of it all." Before Dr. Cox could respond, the medical bay doors hissed open. Admiral Volkov strode in, his face set in unyielding commitment. "Doctor, report," Volkov demanded, his eyes locked on Noah. Dr. Cox straightened, gesturing towards his patient. "Admiral, Noah's condition has stabilized, but there have been unexpected developments. The combination of stress from the battle and our treatments has triggered an evolutionary response in his enhanced systems. He's integrated aspects of Axiom crystalline technology into his cellular structure." Volkov's eyebrows shot up. "And what does this mean for his capabilities?" Noah answered before the doctor could, his voice taking on an almost musical quality. "I can interface directly with advanced technology, Admiral. Lemnorian, Axiom, even our own systems. I can access them all without external equipment." The Admiral's eyes narrowed, calculation evident in his gaze. "Doctor, is he fit for duty?" Dr. Cox opened his mouth to protest, but Noah cut him off. "I'm ready, sir, whatever you need." Volkov nodded sharply. "Good, because we have a critical mission, and your new abilities might be the key to its success." As the Admiral briefed Noah on the infiltration of Lemnorian Central Command, Dr. Cox watched with growing concern. The medical readouts showed Noah's systems operating at unprecedented levels, but the long-term effects of his transformation remained unknown. Hours later, Noah stood in the hangar bay of a modified stealth vessel, surrounded by his hand-picked team. Captain Stone checked his gear, his face a mask of professional focus. Vex-RA, the Zarquin tech specialist, calibrated a complex array of scanning equipment. Lumina, the Axiom advisor, hovered nearby, her crystalline form pulsing with anticipation. Noah closed his eyes, reaching out with his newfound senses. He could feel the ship's systems humming around him, the intricate dance of energy and data flowing through its circuitry. With a thought, he interfaced with the navigation computer, plotting a course that would thread them through the gaps in the Lemnorian defense grid. "We're ready," Noah announced, opening his eyes. "Let's move." The stealth vessel detached from the Vanguard, its hybrid cloaking technology rendering it nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. As they approached the Lemnorian homeworld, Noah's enhanced senses detected a massive energy spike in the planet's northern hemisphere. "Change of plans," Noah said, his fingers dancing across the ship's controls as he interfaced directly with its systems. "There's some kind of superweapon powering up down there. We're going in hot." Captain Stone's eyes widened. "A direct insertion? That's suicide!" Noah turned to his team, his crystalline-laced eyes gleaming with grit. "Trust me, I can get us through." The ship plummeted through the Lemnorian atmosphere, Noah's enhanced reflexes and direct neural link to the vessel allowing him to navigate through a maze of automated defenses. They touched down in a concealed ravine near the weapon complex, the stealth systems barely masking the heat of their entry. As the team disembarked, Noah placed his hand on a nearby rock face. His eyes glowed as he interfaced with the planet's security grid, creating a blind spot in their surveillance. "We've got a clear path to the complex," Noah reported, "but we need to move fast. I can't maintain this disruption for long." The team advanced swiftly, with Noah disabling security measures and misdirecting patrols through his direct interface with Lemnorian systems. However, each interaction sent visible ripples of strain through his crystalline-enhanced physiology. They reached the central chamber of the weapon complex, where a massive quantum entanglement device loomed before them. Noah's eyes widened as he processed the implications of the technology. "This thing could take out our ships anywhere in the galaxy," he breathed. "We need to shut it down now." As Lemnorian alarms began to blare, Noah made his decision. He stepped forward, placing both hands on the superweapon's control interface. Crystalline structures erupted across his skin as he merged with the alien technology, initiating a controlled overload. "Defend this position," Noah shouted through gritted teeth. "I need time to complete the sabotage." Captain Stone and Vex-RA took up defensive positions as Lumina monitored Noah's vital signs. The first wave of Lemnorian security forces burst into the chamber, energy weapons blazing. The air filled with the smell of ozone and the sound of discharging weapons as Noah's team fought to buy him the time he needed. Noah's consciousness expanded, diving deep into the superweapon systems. He could feel the quantum entanglement matrix fighting against his intrusion, its alien logic resisting his attempts at sabotage. With a mental push that sent shockwaves of pain through his transformed body, Noah forced his way deeper into the weapon's core. As the battle raged around him, Noah stood at the precipice of either victory or catastrophic failure. The fate of the mission, and perhaps the entire war, now rested on his ability to complete the sabotage before the Lemnorian reinforcements overwhelmed his team or his own enhanced systems gave out under the immense strain. Strain on his enhanced systems gave out under the immense pressure. The quantum entanglement matrix pulsed with chaotic energy, fighting against Noah's intrusion. He gritted his teeth, pushing his newfound abilities to their limits. Suddenly, the crystalline structures beneath his skin began to pulsate with an eerie blue glow. Noah gasped as he felt a surge of power coursing through his body, amplifying his connection to the alien technology. "Noah," Lumina's melodic voice cut through his concentration. "Your vital signs are spiking. Whatever you're doing, it's having an unprecedented effect on your physiology." Noah barely heard her, his consciousness expanding beyond the confines of his physical form. He dove deeper into the Lemnorian systems, riding the wave of amplified power. A torrent of data flooded his mind. Schematics, command protocols, and strategic information cascaded through his awareness. "I found it," Noah announced, his voice taking on an otherworldly timbre. The location of their high command bunker and, wait, there's more. A hidden fleet, poised for a counterattack. Captain Stone ducked as an energy blast scorched the wall behind him. "That's great, kid, but we've got more pressing concerns." Noah's fingers danced across the weapon's interface, his movements a blur as he simultaneously sabotaged the device and transmitted the critical intelligence to Admiral Volkov. The chamber shuddered, pieces of the ceiling crashing down around them. "We need to move," Vexare shouted, her multifaceted eyes scanning the crumbling structure. "This whole place is coming down." Noah wrenched his hands away from the interface, stumbling as he readjusted to his physical form. The crystalline growths on his skin pulsed with residual energy, sending jolts of pain through his body. Captain Stone tossed a concussion grenade into the corridor, buying them a moment's reprieve from the advancing Lemnorian forces. "New plan. We're not going out the way we came in." Vexare's appendages flew over her portable computer. "I've accessed the facility's transportation network. There's an evacuation system not far from here." "Lead the way," Noah commanded, forcing himself to focus through the haze of data still swirling in his mind. The team fought their way through collapsing corridors, with Noah using his newfound connection to the Lemnorian systems to activate dormant defense protocols. Automated turrets sprang to life, targeting their former masters and clearing a path for the Alliance operatives. They burst into a large hangar bay, where a sleek maglev transport sat waiting. Vexare immediately set to work, bypassing the security lockouts, while the others provided cover fire. "We've got incoming," Captain Stone warned as a fresh wave of Lemnorian soldiers poured into the hangar. Noah closed his eyes, reaching out with his enhanced senses. He felt the facility's power grid, the pulsing energy of the maglev's propulsion system. With a thought, he redirected power surges, overloading equipment and creating chaos among the enemy forces. "We're in," Vexare announced as the maglev's doors hissed open. The team piled into the transport, with Noah taking position at the control interface. As his hands made contact with the alien technology, he felt the familiar surge of connection. The maglev hummed to life, accelerating into a network of underground tunnels with unnatural precision. Behind them, the weapon complex collapsing on itself, the quantum entanglement device's uncontrolled energy tearing apart the very fabric of space-time. Noah guided the maglev through a maze of tunnels, using his access to Lemnorian systems to plot the safest and fastest route to the surface. "We've got company," Captain Stone called out, peering at the rear sensors. Multiple pursuit vehicles closing fast. Noah's eyes glowed with an intense blue light as he interfaced directly with the maglev's propulsion systems. The transport lurched forward, achieving velocities it was never designed to reach. The pursuing vehicles fell behind, unable to match their impossible speed. As they approached the surface, a heavily fortified checkpoint loomed ahead, blocking their path to freedom. With no time to find an alternate route, Noah made a split-second decision. "Everyone brace for impact," he shouted, pushing the maglev systems far beyond their safety limits. The transport smashed through the checkpoint at hypersonic velocity. Noah's crystalline-enhanced body absorbed and redistributed the impact forces, shielding the team from the worst of the collision. They burst onto the planet's surface, momentum carrying them into the air. For a moment, they were airborne, the Lemnorian landscape sprawling beneath them. Then gravity reasserted itself, and the maglev began to plummet. Noah fought to maintain his connection with the vehicle's systems, engaging emergency levitation protocols that he barely understood. They hit the ground hard, skidding through a forested area away from Lemnorian population centers. The maglev structure groaned and buckled, but held together long enough for them to reach a stop. As the team stumbled out of the wreckage, a massive explosion lit up the horizon. The weapon complex detonated in a blinding flash, sending shockwaves across the landscape. Communications crackled with static, and in the distance, they could see power grids failing across the Lemnorian cities. "Activate emergency beacons," Noah ordered, his voice hoarse from the strain. "We need extraction now." As Captain Stone sent out the distress signal, Noah fell to his knees, overwhelmed by the cascading changes in his body. The crystalline structures had spread further, pulsing with energy that seemed to resonate with the very air around him. Lumina knelt beside him, her crystalline form shimmering with concern. "Your transformation is accelerating. We need to get you back to Alliance medical facilities immediately." In orbit above the Lemnorian homeworld, Alliance ships moved into attack positions. Admiral Volkov, armed with the intelligence Noah had provided, launched a series of precision strikes against the exposed High Command bunker and the hidden Lemnorian fleet. As the sounds of distant battles echoed across the alien landscape, Noah and his team held their position, waiting for extraction. The success of their mission hung in the balance, along with the fate of the war itself. But for Noah, an even greater uncertainty loomed. The nature of his changing body and what it might mean for the future of humanity among the stars. Stars. A piercing whine cut through the air, growing louder with each passing second. Noah looked up, his crystalline-enhanced vision piercing through the smoky haze, to see a sleek transport ship descending rapidly towards their position. "Extraction team incoming," he announced, his voice strained from the continuing changes racking his body. The ship touched down in a clearing nearby, its engines kicking up a cloud of debris. The rear hatch opened, revealing a team of heavily armed Alliance soldiers led by a woman with short-cropped hair and intense green eyes. "Major Sarah Cox, extraction team leader," she shouted over the roar of the engines. "Let's move, people." Captain Stone helped Noah to his feet, supporting him as they made their way to the transport. Vex-RA and Lumina covered their retreat, keeping watch for any pursuing Lemnorian forces. As they boarded the ship, Noah felt a wave of dizziness wash over him. The crystalline structures beneath his skin pulsed with an otherworldly light, spreading visibly across his arms and chest. "Med team, we need immediate assistance," Major Cox called out as the hatch sealed behind them. The transport lifted off, its stealth systems engaging as it rocketed towards the upper atmosphere. Noah slumped against the bulkhead, his consciousness flickering as his body continued its rapid transformation. Through a haze of pain and disorientation, Noah was vaguely aware of the ship's evasive maneuvers as it dodged the remaining Lemnorian patrols. The transport shuddered and bucked, but Major Cox's piloting skills kept them one step ahead of their pursuers. As they broke through the planet's atmosphere, Noah's enhanced senses picked up a familiar energy signature. The HSS Vanguard loomed before them, its hangar bay doors already open in anticipation of their arrival. The moment the transport touched down, a team of medical personnel swarmed around Noah. Dr. Elena Cox, her face a mask of professional concern, began barking orders as they transferred him to a hovering stretcher. "Get him to the advanced medical bay immediately," she commanded. "I want full biometric scans and quantum resonance imaging. Move." Noah felt himself being rushed through the corridors of the Vanguard, the bright lights of the medical bay searing his overstimulated retinas. As the medical team worked frantically around him, he caught snippets of their urgent conversation. Crystalline growth rate increasing exponentially. Neural activity off the charts. Cellular structure undergoing rapid reconfiguration. Dr. Cox leaned over him, her eyes widening as she studied the readings on her handheld scanner. "Noah, can you hear me? We're going to put you under for a full examination. Just try to relax." As the sedative coursed through his veins, Noah felt his consciousness expanding beyond the confines of the medical bay. His mind touched the ship's systems, sensing the pulse of its engines and the intricate dance of its navigational computers. Beyond that, he could feel the ebb and flow of quantum fields, the very fabric of space-time stretching out before him. In the command center of the Vanguard, Admiral Volkov received the intelligence Noah had transmitted during the mission. His weathered face set in unshakable focus as he processed the strategic implications. "Launch precision strikes on all exposed Lemnorian installations," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of command. "Coordinate with our fleet elements. Hit them hard and fast while they're still reeling from the loss of their superweapon." Across Lemnorian space, Alliance ships moved into attack positions. Precision-guided munitions streaked towards military bases and command centers, their energy signatures carefully calibrated to minimize civilian casualties. The Lemnorian defense grid, still in disarray from Noah's sabotage, offered only token resistance. On Nexus Station, Commander Harper stood before a bank of holographic displays, monitoring the activation of the modified Axiom containment field. Massive generators hummed to life, their energy output quickly ramping up to unprecedented levels. "Containment field at 30% capacity and rising," a technician reported. "No signs of instability in the quantum matrix." Harper nodded, her eyes fixed on the spreading web of energy that began to envelop Lemnorian-controlled space. "Maintain power levels. Let's cut off their supply lines and box them in." As the containment field strengthened, the tide of battle shifted decisively in the Alliance's favor. Lemnorian ships found themselves cut off from reinforcement and resupply, their movements restricted by the impenetrable energy barrier. Back on the Vanguard, Noah's eyes snapped open. The medical bay came into focus around him, but his perception extended far beyond its walls. He could sense the quantum fluctuations of nearby stars, the complex interactions of subatomic particles within his own body. Dr. Cox approached his bedside, her face a mixture of awe and concern. "Noah, how are you feeling?" He sat up slowly, marveling at the lack of pain or discomfort despite the visible changes to his body. Crystalline structures now covered most of his skin, pulsing with an inner light that seemed to resonate with the very air around him. "I feel different," Noah replied, his voice carrying an otherworldly timbre. "Connected to everything." Dr. Cox nodded, glancing at the displays monitoring his vital signs. "The Axiom crystals have integrated with your nervous system in ways we never thought possible. You're perceiving and interacting with quantum-level phenomena." Before Noah could respond, the medical bay's comm system crackled to life. Admiral Volkov's voice filled the room, tension evident in his tone. "Dr. Cox, is he stable enough to move? We need Noah in the command center immediately." "He's still undergoing evaluation, Admiral," Dr. Cox protested. "We don't fully understand the extent of his transformation." "I'm afraid we don't have that luxury," Volkov replied grimly. "Long-range sensors have detected an anomalous energy signature approaching from beyond the galactic rim. We need every asset we have to face this new threat." Noah stood, feeling strength and purpose flowing through his transformed body. "I'm ready, Admiral. Whatever's coming, I think I'm meant to face it." As Noah made his way to the command center, flanked by Dr. Cox and a security detail, he could sense the shift in the ship's energy. The Vanguard's powerful engines engaged, propelling them towards the outer reaches of the galaxy and into an uncertain future. In the command center, Admiral Volkov turned to face Noah, his eyes widening slightly at the sight of his transformed appearance. "Welcome back, son. I hope you're ready for another challenge. We've got an unknown alien force incoming, and you might be our best chance at understanding what we're up against." Noah nodded, his crystalline eyes gleaming with willpower. As he stepped up to the main view screen, he could feel the quantum fabric of space-time stretching before him, alive with possibilities and fraught with danger. Whatever this new threat might be, he knew that the fate of humanity and all alien species would hinge on the choices they made in the coming hours. Noah's eyes locked onto the main view screen, his crystalline form pulsing with energy as he processed the incoming data. The anomalous signature grew stronger, its patterns shifting in ways that defied conventional analysis. "Admiral," Noah said, his voice resonating with an otherworldly timbre, "I'm detecting quantum fluctuations unlike anything we've encountered before. This entity, it's operating on principles far beyond our current understanding." Admiral Volkov nodded grimly. "We need to mobilize every resource at our disposal. Dr. Cox, I want you to assemble a team of our top scientists. We need to understand Noah's abilities and how we can leverage them against this new threat." As the command center erupted into a flurry of activity, Noah felt a sudden surge of energy course through his body. His perception expanded, stretching beyond the confines of the ship and into the vast expanse of space. He could sense the quantum fabric of reality itself, alive with possibilities. I can feel it," Noah gasped, his eyes wide with wonder. "The entity, it's communicating somehow. Not with words, but with quantum interactions." Before anyone could respond, a blinding flash of light engulfed the bridge. When it faded, Noah found himself standing in a sterile white room, surrounded by an array of advanced scientific equipment. Dr. Elena Cox stood before him, her face a mixture of concern and scientific curiosity. "Welcome to Nexus Station, Noah," she said, gesturing to the equipment around them. "We've set up this facility to study your transformation and develop ways to utilize your new abilities." Over the next few weeks, Noah underwent a battery of tests, each one pushing the limits of his quantum manipulation skills. He learned to alter the properties of matter with a thought, to generate force fields that could withstand tremendous energy, and to perceive information carried on quantum, entangled particles across vast distances. As Noah's training progressed, Captain Stone worked tirelessly to integrate these new capabilities into Alliance military doctrine. In a cavernous simulation chamber, Noah faced off against holographic adversaries, using his powers to neutralize energy weapons and reconfigure the molecular structure of physical barriers. "Excellent work, Noah," Stone called out as Noah dispatched another wave of simulated enemies. "But remember, your abilities are just one tool in our arsenal. We need to find ways to combine them with our conventional tactics." Meanwhile, on a distant space station at the edge of Alliance space, Ambassador Rayhan sat across from a group of Lemnorian representatives. The atmosphere was tense, filled with the weight of decades of conflict. "We understand your desire for peace," Rayhan said, her voice calm but firm. "But we need assurances. Your military leadership has caused immeasurable suffering." The lead Lemnorian delegate, his scaled skin shimmering under the station's harsh lights, leaned forward. "Our new civilian government has full control. We're prepared to surrender our remaining military assets and accept your terms, in exchange for humanitarian aid and the gradual lifting of the containment field." As diplomats worked to verify the Lemnorians' claims, Alliance scientists made a breakthrough in their analysis of the approaching anomaly. Dr. Cox burst into Noah's training session, her eyes alight with excitement. "Noah, we've cracked it," she exclaimed, thrusting a data pad towards him. "The entity's energy signature. It's using principles similar to your quantum manipulation abilities for faster-than-light travel. This could be the key to communication." Admiral Volkov wasted no time in assembling a first contact team. Noah found himself aboard the HSS Vanguard once again, this time outfitted with specialized interfaces that allowed him to connect directly with the ship systems. As the Vanguard accelerated towards the outer rim of the galaxy, Noah felt his consciousness expand, merging with the ship's sensors and defensive systems. He could perceive the quantum fluctuations of nearby stars, the intricate dance of subatomic particles that made up the very fabric of space-time. The ship's enhanced engines, boosted by Noah's quantum manipulation, propelled them across vast distances at unprecedented speeds. As they neared the projected intercept point, a surge of energy washed over the sensors. "Contact!" the sensor officer called out. "Massive object decelerating from FDL speeds dead ahead." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that left the crew speechless. A colossal structure hung in space before them, its surface a shifting maze of geometric patterns that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Suddenly, the object began emitting a complex series of energy pulses. Noah's enhanced senses detected patterns within the pulses, a language of quantum states and probability waves. "It's trying to communicate," Noah said, his voice distant as he focused on the intricate message. I can understand it, at least partially." Using his abilities, Noah began to formulate a response, manipulating quantum fields to generate a similar series of energy pulses. As the exchange continued, the alien object suddenly generated a massive energy field that enveloped both itself and the Vanguard. Alarms blared throughout the ship as conventional systems went dark. The Krell shield prototype hummed to life, protecting them from immediate harm, but they were effectively cut off from the rest of the Alliance. "All propulsion and communication systems are down," Captain Stone reported, her voice tense but controlled. "We're trapped within the energy field." Noah closed his eyes, extending his perception into the quantum realm that surrounded them. He could sense the alien presence more clearly now, vast and incomprehensible, yet somehow familiar. "This is it," Noah said, opening his eyes to meet the gaze of his fellow crew members. "Everything we prepared for comes down to this moment. We may be cut off from the Alliance, but we're not powerless. Whatever happens next will shape the future of our species and our place in the universe." As the crew of the Vanguard steeled themselves for the encounter ahead, Noah reached out with his mind, ready to bridge the gap between humanity and the unknown entity that awaited them in the depths of space. Space. Noah's consciousness expanded, merging with the quantum fabric that surrounded them. The alien presence grew stronger, its vast intelligence pressing against the boundaries of his perception. Suddenly, the energy field surrounding the Vanguard and the alien object began to shift. Noah's crystalline body glowed with increasing intensity as he channeled immense amounts of energy through the ship's specialized interfaces. The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity as crew members monitored his vital signs, which fluctuated wildly but remained within sustainable limits. Captain Stone leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. "What's happening, Noah? Can you make sense of it?" Noah's voice came through the ship's speakers, distorted and otherworldly. "The entity. It's responding. I can feel its thoughts, like waves crashing against my mind." The energy field pulsed rhythmically, creating patterns that corresponded to Noah's attempts at communication. The ship's sensors detected a series of localized quantum fluctuations, forming complex structures in the space around them. "All departments stand by," Captain Stone ordered, her voice steady despite the tension. "We're witnessing something beyond our current understanding." As the quantum exchange intensified, the alien object began to change. Its surface rippled and flowed like liquid metal, reshaping into a structure that bore an uncanny resemblance to Noah's crystalline physiology, albeit on a massive scale. Dr. Cox gasped, her eyes wide as she analyzed the incoming data. "Captain, the entity is manipulating matter at a fundamental level. It's recreating Noah's unique cellular structure." Ambassador Rehan stepped forward, her diplomatic training evident in her calm demeanor. This could be an attempt at creating a compatible interface for communication. It's mirroring what it perceives as our primary means of interaction. The Vanguard's Krell shield system hummed to life, tendrils of biomechanical technology extending throughout the ship's hull. New structures formed, resonating with the surrounding quantum fluctuations. Engineering to bridge. A voice crackled over the comm. The Krell-Tech is adapting to the alien energy field. We've got limited maneuverability. Captain Stone didn't hesitate. Helm, take us in closer. Nice and easy. As the Vanguard approached the transformed alien structure, the intensity of the quantum exchange between Noah and the entity increased exponentially. Warning alarms blared as the ship's power systems strained to channel the enormous energies involved. Reroute emergency power to the shield grid, Stone ordered. Keep those containment fields stable. Without warning, a beam of coherent energy erupted from the alien structure, enveloping Noah in a cocoon of pulsating light. His physical form began to dissolve, merging with the energy beam. Noah! Dr. Cox cried out, her hands flying over her console. Captain, we're losing him. Stone's voice cut through the chaos. Activate emergency containment measures. Don't let that beam penetrate the ship's hull. But it was too late. Noah's body had completely disappeared, absorbed into the alien construct. The structure emitted a series of complex quantum signatures, suggesting a massive data transfer was underway. Get me a lock on Noah's quantum signature, Stone demanded. Use the experimental entanglement device. We are not losing him. The science team worked feverishly, initializing the hastily installed device. A faint connection established, providing fragmented data streams from within the alien consciousness. On the display, the alien object continued to transform, incorporating elements that resembled both human and Krell technology. It was as if the entity was assimilating everything it learned from its interaction with Noah and the Vanguard. Weapon systems to stand by, Stone ordered, her mind focused. But hold fire. We don't know what's happened to Noah or what this thing is capable of. As the tension on the bridge reached a fever pitch, the tactical officer's voice cut through the noise. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up multiple contacts entering the system. Energy signatures match. The Axiom Collective. Stone's eyes narrowed as she took in the new threat. A massive fleet of Axiom ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system, their sleek forms gliding inexorably towards the Vanguard's position. Status report on Noah's signal, Stone demanded, her mind racing through potential scenarios. Dr. Cox's voice was strained as she responded. We're still receiving data through the quantum entanglement link, but it's fragmented, chaotic. Whatever Noah's experiencing in there, it's beyond our ability to fully comprehend. As the Axiom fleet drew closer and the alien structure continued its mysterious transformation, Captain Stone faced a critical decision. The fate of Noah, the Vanguard, and possibly the entire Alliance hung in the balance. With the situation growing more complex by the second, Stone knew that her next move would shape the course of this unprecedented encounter. All hands battle stations, she ordered, her voice resolute. But maintain defensive posture only. Our priority is to recover Noah and establish peaceful contact if possible. Let's show these aliens, all of them, what humanity is made of. The Vanguard's crew sprang into action, readying themselves for whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Axiom ships entered visual range, the alien structure pulsed with renewed energy, its quantum emissions growing ever more complex. Trapped between two advanced alien forces, with their most valuable asset seemingly lost, the Alliance First Contact team braced themselves for a confrontation that would test the limits of their technology, diplomacy, and courage. The tension on the Vanguard's bridge reached a fever pitch as the crew braced for the unknown. Suddenly, a brilliant burst of energy erupted from the alien structure, washing over the ship and momentarily disrupting the field that had trapped them. Captain Stone's eyes widened. Helm, status report. The field's down, Captain, the helm officer responded, fingers flying over the controls. We have limited maneuverability. Communications back online. Another crew member shouted. Stone wasted no time. Open a channel to Admiral Volkov. Priority 1. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the stern face of Admiral Volkov. Stone quickly relayed the situation, her words clipped and precise as she detailed Noah's absorption into the alien entity and the arrival of the Axiom fleet. As Stone concluded her report, the Axiom ships smoothly adjusted their formation, creating a protective perimeter around the Vanguard and the still-transforming alien structure. The flagship of the Axiom fleet, a sleek vessel that seemed to shimmer with an inner light, glided alongside the Vanguard. "Captain," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Axiom flagship. They're identifying as the ACS Luminous Harmony." Stone nodded. "Put it through." The view screen split, revealing a striking figure with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to hold the depths of space within them. "I am High Commander Zephyra of the Axiom Collective," the alien said, her voice resonating with an otherworldly timbre. "We detected the quantum disturbance and came to investigate. It seems we've arrived at a crucial moment." "Indeed, High Commander," Stone replied, her voice steady despite the circumstances. "We're dealing with an unknown entity that has absorbed one of our crew members, a man with unique abilities." As they spoke, the alien structure continued its metamorphosis. The once geometric surface now roiled with a mixture of crystalline formations, riding biomechanical tendrils and pulsating conduits of pure energy. It was as if the entity was a visual representation of the merging technologies and knowledge it had encountered. Suddenly, alarms blared across the Vanguard's bridge. Dr. Cox's voice cut through the noise. "Captain, the quantum entanglement device is activating." Before their eyes, a holographic projection materialized in the center of the bridge. It flickered and distorted, barely holding its shape, but it was unmistakably Noah. His form shifted and warped, as if struggling to maintain coherence in their reality. "Noah," Stone called out, "can you hear us?" The projection jerked, its movements unnatural and jarring. No words came forth, but streams of data began flooding the ship's computer systems. Dr. Cox and her team immediately set to work, their fingers flying over consoles as they attempted to decipher the information. "Captain," Dr. Cox said, her voice filled with awe, "this data. It's beyond anything we've ever seen. Equations for manipulating space-time, harnessing zero-point energy, creating stable wormholes. This could revolutionize everything we know about physics and space travel." As the science team worked feverishly to analyze the data, the alien structure began to pulse with increasing intensity. Beams of focused energy shot out from its surface, targeting specific points in the space around the assembled ships. Sensors are detecting localized distortions in space-time, the science officer reported. "It appears to be creating micro-wormholes." High Commander Zephyr's voice came through the comm system. "Captain Stone, we're detecting the same phenomenon. This entity appears to be demonstrating the practical application of the knowledge it's sharing." Stone watched as the space around them warped and twisted, tiny tears in reality opening and closing in rapid succession. It was both terrifying and awe-inspiring, a display of power that dwarfed anything humanity had achieved. Suddenly, the holographic projection of Noah vanished, and the quantum entanglement device erupted in a shower of sparks. At the same moment, the alien structure's pulsations reached a fever pitch, its surface roiling with barely held back energy. "All hands, brace for impact," Stone shouted, her instincts kicking in. "Helm, get us to a safe distance." The Vanguard's engines roared to life, pushing the ship away from the energized construct. The Axiom fleet followed suit, their ships moving with fluid grace to maintain a protective formation. As they retreated, the alien structure reached critical mass. In a blinding flash that forced everyone to shield their eyes, it imploded, collapsing in on itself before exploding outward in a controlled wave of quantum energy. The shock wave passed through the ships, leaving them unharmed but momentarily powerless. As systems slowly came back online, Stone leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the spot where the alien structure had been. From the epicenter of the implosion, a new form emerged. Floating in the void was a figure that resembled Noah, but fundamentally changed. His body was now a seamless blend of human features, crystalline structures, and swirling energy that pulsed with axiom-like bioluminescence. This transformed Noah extended his arms, generating a localized field that enveloped both the Vanguard and the Axiom flagship. Within this bubble, their communication systems crackled to life. Captain Stone, High Commander Zephyra. Noah's voice resonated through the ships, carrying an otherworldly echo. I have merged with the alien intelligence. What I've learned, it's beyond anything we could have imagined. As Noah spoke, the space around them began to ripple and warp. Small wormholes opened and closed, a dazzling display of the cosmic engineering he now commanded. The entity was a probe, Noah continued, his voice filled with wonder. Sent by an ancient civilization from another galaxy. They've transcended physical form and now seek to share their knowledge with worthy species. Captain Stone and High Commander Zephyra exchanged glances, the weight of this revelation settling over them. Noah's next words, however, sent a jolt through both crews. They've deemed us worthy, Noah said. But the choice is ours. We can accept this gift of knowledge and technology, but doing so will irreversibly change the course of our development and our role in the galaxy. Before either leader could respond, alarms blared across both ships. The tactical officer's voice cut through the stunned silence. Multiple contacts dropping out of FDL. Energy signatures match. Lemnorian vessels. Stone's blood ran cold as she watched a massive Lemnorian fleet materialize at the edge of the system. The ships, overflowing with hastily constructed superweapons, quickly formed an attack formation. As the Lemnorian fleet bore down on them, Stone found herself faced with an impossible decision. Accept Noah's offer and forever alter the course of humanity, or face the Lemnorian threat with their current capabilities. The fate of not just the Vanguard, but of all humanity and its allies, hung in the balance as Captain Stone prepared to make her choice. Decision. The weight of humanity's future pressed down on her shoulders as she locked eyes with High Commander Zephyra. In that moment of shared understanding, Stone knew there was only one choice. Noah, Stone called out, her voice steady despite the tension crackling through the air. We accept your offer. High Commander Zephyra nodded in agreement. The Axiom Collective stands with you in this decision, Captain Stone. The transformed Noah's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light as he acknowledged their choice. Initiating data transfer now, he announced, his voice resonating through both ships. Instantly, the Vanguard systems lit up like a supernova. Displays flickered and morphed, showing streams of incomprehensible data. The ship's hull began to shimmer, crystalline structures forming along its surface in a mesmerizing dance of matter and energy. On the bridge, officers gasped as their consoles transformed before their eyes. Holographic interfaces sprang to life, displaying information in ways they had never seen before. The tactical officer's eyes widened as he watched the weapon systems reconfigure in real time. Captain, he called out, voice filled with awe. Our weapons. They're creating localized wormholes. We can deliver payloads directly into enemy vessels. Stone felt the ship come alive around her, its new systems interfacing directly with her mind. The sensation was overwhelming, a flood of information threatening to drown her. But as quickly as it began, the torrent of data organized itself into crystal-clear understanding. Through the view screen, Stone watched as the Axiom flagship underwent a similar transformation. Its already advanced technology evolved further, incorporating the alien knowledge in ways that defied conventional understanding of physics. Noah extended his influence to the rest of the Axiom fleet. Each vessel received a portion of the advanced technology, their capabilities increasing exponentially in a matter of minutes. The Alliance and Axiom ships formed a unified defensive line against the approaching Lemnorian forces. As the Lemnorian fleet entered weapons range, they launched a devastating barrage of energy projectiles. The superweapons they had so hastily constructed lit up the void between the fleets with a storm of destructive power. Noah reacted instantly. With a gesture, he created a series of small wormholes that intercepted the incoming fire. The energy blast disappeared into the quantum tunnels, reappearing harmlessly in empty space light years away. "Offensive systems online, Captain," the tactical officer reported, his fingers dancing over the new interface. "Quantum-entangled missiles ready for deployment." Stone nodded, feeling the weight of the new weapon systems in her mind. Target their key vessels. Minimal collateral damage. The Vanguard's newly upgraded launchers came to life. Missiles phased in and out of normal space-time as they streaked towards their targets. They bypassed the Lemnorian shields completely, materializing directly within the enemy ships. Explosions blossomed silently in the vacuum of space as the missiles found their marks. Lemnorian vessels were torn apart from the inside, their hulls rupturing in spectacular fashion. High Commander Zephyr's voice came through the comm system, calm and focused. "Captain Stone, we're creating a wormhole network to disrupt their formation. Prepare for precision strikes." The space around the Lemnorian fleet warped and twisted as the Axiom ships generated a web of intersecting wormholes. Enemy vessels found themselves suddenly separated, their carefully planned formation shattered in an instant. Stone watched in amazement as the Alliance ships picked off the isolated Lemnorian vessels with surgical precision. It was almost too easy, their newfound power rendering the enemy's superior numbers meaningless. Suddenly, Noah's transformed body began to pulse with increasing intensity. Energy coursed through him in visible waves, growing stronger by the second. Before anyone could react, he generated a massive quantum field that enveloped both fleets. All ships froze in place, caught in the grip of Noah's power. The abrupt cessation of combat left an eerie silence on the Vanguard's bridge. Noah's voice echoed through the ship, strained with effort. "Establishing neural link with Lemnorian command ship. Transmitting data package." Through the view screen, Stone watched as the Lemnorian fleet underwent a transformation of its own. Their weapon systems reconfigured, the destructive energy being channeled into more peaceful applications. Crystalline growths, similar to those on the Alliance ships, began to form on their hulls. As quickly as it had appeared, the quantum field dissipated. The Lemnorian fleet's aggressive stance visibly relaxed. Their lead ship, now sporting the telltale signs of the alien technology, broke formation and approached the Vanguard. "Captain," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Lemnorian command ship. They're requesting to board for peace negotiations." Before Stone could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Noah's energy form began to flicker and distort, his body struggling to maintain cohesion. Dr. Cox's voice cut through the chaos, urgent and worried. "Captain, Noah's condition is critical. The human component of his consciousness is being overwhelmed by the alien knowledge. If we don't act fast, we could lose him completely." Stone's mind raced, processing the flood of information from the ship's new systems. "Medical bay. Prepare for emergency intervention. We need to stabilize Noah's condition immediately." As the medical team sprang into action, Stone found herself facing a new set of challenges. With Noah's fate hanging in the balance and a Lemnorian peace delegation on the way, the true test of their newfound power was just beginning. As the medical team rushed to stabilize Noah, Captain Stone turned her attention to the incoming Lemnorian peace delegation. "Prepare the conference room," she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "High Commander Zephyra, please join me. We need to present a united front." The Axiom leader nodded, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with a mix of anticipation and concern. As they made their way to the specially prepared conference room, Stone couldn't help but marvel at the transformation of the Vanguard's interior. Holographic displays flickered to life as they passed, showing real-time data on the galactic situation. The conference room doors slid open, revealing a space that seemed to bridge the gap between human and Axiom design sensibilities. At the center, a large table shimmered with embedded holographic projectors, ready to display any information needed for the negotiations. As they took their positions, the ship's computer announced the arrival of the Lemnorian delegation. Commander Zarkon, a towering figure with iridescent scales and piercing eyes, led his team into the room. The crystalline growths on their armor pulsed faintly, a visible reminder of the recent technological leap. "Commander Zarkon," Stone greeted, keeping her voice neutral. "Welcome aboard the HSS Vanguard. We're here to discuss the immediate cessation of hostilities and the potential for a new era of cooperation." Zarkon's multifaceted eyes scanned the room before settling on Stone. "Captain Stone, High Commander Zephyra, the events of the past hours have altered our perspective. We are prepared to listen." As the negotiations began, Stone felt a subtle vibration through the deck plates. Before she could inquire about it, alarms blared throughout the ship. The holographic displays in the conference room flickered, showing a surge of energy emanating from the medical bay. "Captain," Dr. Cox's voice came through the comm system, urgent and strained. "Noah's body is emitting some kind of quantum pulse. It's spreading throughout the ship." The pulse washed over them like a wave of static electricity. The ship's systems flared to life, displays updating with an influx of new data. Through the view screen, Stone watched as the pulse extended to the assembled fleets. Both Alliance and Lemnorian vessels shimmered, their hulls taking on a faint crystalline sheen. Commander Zarkon stood abruptly, his hand instinctively moving to his weapon. "What is the meaning of this?" Before Stone could respond, the air in the center of the conference room shimmered. A holographic projection of Noah materialized, his form fluctuating between human and crystalline structures. "Captain Stone, Commander Zarkon." Noah's voice resonated with an otherworldly timbre. "I apologize for the interruption, but there's critical information you need to know." The holographic displays around the room updated in real time, showing potential future conflicts and cosmic anomalies. Noah's partially stabilized consciousness began to share details of long-term galactic threats that dwarfed their current conflict. "These challenges," Noah explained, his form flickering, "require cooperation on a scale we've never attempted before. The fate of all our civilizations hangs in the balance." Stone's mind raced, processing the implications of this new information. She locked eyes with High Commander Zephyra, seeing her own thoughts reflected in the Axiom leader's gaze. "Commander Zarkon," Stone said, turning to the Lemnorian leader, "in light of this information, I propose the formation of a unified galactic defense force. Our combined strengths may be our only hope against these cosmic threats." Zarkon was silent for a moment, his scaled brow furrowed in concentration. The partial transfer of advanced knowledge to his fleet had clearly impacted his thinking. The Lemnorian Imperium agrees. We will commit our remaining military assets to this joint force. As the negotiations continued, Dr. Cox's voice cut through once again. "Captain, we've reached a critical phase in Noah's stabilization. We need a massive power boost to complete the integration of his human and alien consciousness." Stone made a split-second decision. Divert power from non-essential systems across the entire fleet. We need to complete this process. The combined fleet initiated a synchronized power transfer, channeling energy through a network of quantum conduits to the Vanguard stabilization chamber. The space around the ship warped visibly, reality bending under the strain of the procedure. Suddenly, the tactical officer's voice rang out. "Captain, long-range sensors are detecting a swarm of unidentified objects entering the system. They're moving at incredible speeds." The holographic displays shifted, showing the approaching swarm. Initial analysis suggested they were automated probes or drones, possibly connected to the ancient civilization that provided the original alien knowledge. As the unknown swarm drew closer, Noah's stabilization reached a critical point. His body began emitting pulses of energy that interacted unpredictably with the ship's systems. The Vanguard's hull started to reconfigure, growing crystalline structures that spread to nearby vessels through quantum entanglement. Stone turned to the assembled leaders, her expression grave. "We need to form a defensive perimeter around the Vanguard. Noah's transformation may be key to understanding these new arrivals." High Commander Zephyr nodded, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with drive. "I'll deploy Axiom interceptors to probe the swarm. We need more data on their capabilities and intentions." As the fleets moved into position, the stabilization chamber experienced a massive power surge. A section of the Vanguard phased out of normal space-time, coinciding with a tremendous data burst from Noah's consciousness. Stone's mind reeled as she processed the sudden influx of information. The realization hit her like a bolt of lightning. The swarm wasn't a threat, but a final test from the ancient civilization. "Stand down weapons," Stone commanded. "Initiate quantum manipulations to communicate our peaceful intentions." The fleet complied, and the swarm responded by forming a massive, three-dimensional holographic display in space. Complex mathematical equations and diagrams filled the void, representing advanced cosmic principles beyond their current understanding. As the Alliance and Lemnorian ships worked together to decipher this cosmic puzzle, Noah's stabilization process entered its final phase. His body, now a perfect fusion of human and alien physiology, emitted a sustained field of quantum energy that enveloped the entire fleet. Stone felt her mind expanding, cognitive abilities enhanced by the field. Around her, she saw the same effect on others, human, Axiom, and Lemnorian alike. Their collective intelligence soared, allowing for unprecedented levels of cooperative problem-solving. With each solution, new layers of understanding unfolded, revealing glimpses of technologies and principles that could reshape the future of all their civilizations. As the final pieces of the cosmic puzzle fell into place, the swarm began to change formation. The individual units coalesced into a singular, massive structure that dwarfed even the largest ships in the Alliance fleet. This new construct pulsed with energy, appearing to be some kind of gateway or portal. Stone stood at the center of the bridge, her enhanced mind processing possibilities at lightning speed. The structure before them promised to be the next great challenge for their newly united galactic civilizations. As she prepared to address the fleet, Stone couldn't help but feel that they stood on the precipice of a new era, one filled with untold dangers and limitless potential. Possibilities. As the crew of the Vanguard grappled with the enormity of what lay before them, the massive portal structure began to stabilize, its swirling energy coalescing into a more defined form. Suddenly, Noah's quantum energy field intensified, expanding outward from the Vanguard in pulsing waves. Stone felt a tingling sensation wash over her, and in an instant, her mind connected with those of every sentient being in the fleet. The collective consciousness formed by this link brought with it an immediate and profound understanding of the portal's true nature and purpose. Captain Stone, High Commander Zephyr, and Commander Zarkon exchanged glances, their eyes widening in simultaneous realization. This was no mere technological marvel. It was an invitation from the ancient civilization to join them in a higher plane of existence. Before anyone could voice the shared epiphany, The doors to the bridge slid open. Noah stepped through, his body radiating power. He moved with fluid grace, his form a perfect synthesis of human axiom and alien physiology. The crew stared in awe as he approached, his presence commanding attention without a word. "It's time," Noah announced, his voice resonating with newfound authority that seemed to echo through the quantum link connecting them all. "We've been deemed worthy to ascend, but the choice is ours." Captain Stone nodded, feeling the weight of this moment in every fiber of her being. She took a deep breath and opened a channel to all ships in the fleet, human, axiom, and Lemnorian alike. "This is Captain Stone of the HSS Vanguard," she began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We stand at the threshold of a new era, one that promises advancements beyond our wildest imaginations. However, our journey as individual species is not yet complete. We have much to learn from each other before we're ready to join the ancients." High Commander Zephyr stepped forward, her crystalline form shimmering under the lights of the bridge. "I concur with Captain Stone," she added, her melodic voice carrying across the quantum link. "Our strength lies in our diversity and the unique perspectives each of our civilizations brings to this alliance." Commander Zarkon, his once hostile demeanor now thoughtful and measured, joined them. "The Lemnorians agree with this assessment," he said, his scaled hands clasped behind his back. "We have only begun to understand the value of cooperation and the power of unity in diversity. To ascend now would be premature." Noah nodded, a smile playing on his lips. He turned to face the massive portal looming beyond the view screen and raised his hands. The air around him seemed to ripple as he channeled the combined power of the fleet and his own enhanced abilities. The portal responded to Noah's manipulation, its swirling energies shifting and coalescing. The structure shimmered and contracted, its vast expanse condensing into a more manageable form. As Noah completed his work, the once imposing gateway reduced to the size of a small shuttle, hovering silently in space. "I've reconfigured it," Noah explained, lowering his hands. "This portal will remain as a beacon and a promise. When we're ready, when we've learned to truly work together and have explored the full potential of our combined knowledge, it will reactivate, allowing us to join the ancients as equals, not as students." Captain Stone surveyed the assembled leaders, then turned to her tactical officer. "Order the fleet to create a defensive perimeter around the dormant portal," she commanded. "This will be our joint responsibility, a symbol of our new alliance and a reminder of what we can achieve together." As the fleets began to maneuver into position, Stone couldn't help but marvel at the sight. Ships that had been locked in mortal combat mere hours ago now moved in perfect harmony, their crews united by a shared purpose and the quantum link that connected them all. Noah approached the captain, his eyes gleaming with the knowledge of countless civilizations. "This is just the beginning," he said, his voice low but filled with excitement. "The ancient knowledge I've accessed. It's going to change everything. But we need to approach it carefully, to integrate it with our existing cultures and technologies." Stone nodded, her mind already racing with the possibilities. "We'll need to establish a permanent research station here," she mused. "A place where our best minds can come together to study the portal and develop new technologies based on what we've learned." High Commander Zephyr joined them, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with enthusiasm. "The Axiom would be honored to contribute our expertise in quantum mechanics and energy manipulation to this endeavor," she offered. Commander Zarkon, not to be outdone, added, "The Lemnorian Imperium possesses unparalleled knowledge of astrophysics and gravity manipulation. We will gladly share this knowledge for the benefit of our new alliance." As the leaders continued to discuss the logistics of their joint venture, the quantum link hummed with the collective excitement and apprehension of thousands of minds. They stood on the brink of a new age, one that promised to redefine their understanding of the universe and their place within it. The dormant portal hung in space before them, a silent testament to the challenges they had overcome and the countless mysteries that still lay ahead. As Captain Stone gazed at this symbol of their shared future, she knew that their greatest adventures were only just beginning.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.